2024.
With Kelly Kears.
On BBC Radio 5 Live.
We're at the Stade de France for another blockbuster night of athletics where Josh Kerr goes for gold in the 1500 metres.
Josh Kerr is going to win the World 1500 metre title. Josh Kerr strikes again. The heart of Jakob Ingebrigtsen is broken.
We'll also bring you the women's 200 metres final, which features Dina Asher-Smith and Daryl Neita.
I've just been trying to keep it as relaxed as possible because it's a lot of adrenaline. A lot's happened in the last 48-ish hours. I know I'm just staying focused on what I need to do.
Already today, Sky Brown overcame a shoulder injury to claim skateboarding bronze.
It's going to be bronze for Team GB Sky Brown. 2 Olympics in a row. She's on the podium. It's another Olympic medal for the 16-year-old.
But there was disappointment at the diving as Andrea Spendolini-Siriex missed out on a medal in the 10 metres. And Team GB failed to add to their 5 equestrian medals as Germany's Christian Kukuk won gold in the individual jumping final.
The Olympic Games, Paris 2024.
With Kelly Kears.
On BBC Radio 5 Live.
Welcome back to 5 Live Olympics, live from the Stade de France. We're about to start the women's 400-metre hurdles semi-finals. We'll bring you news of that shortly, but we're going to head to the velodrome now where Team GB are looking to claim gold in the men's team sprint. Victoria Pendleton is alongside Alistair Bruce-Ball.
Thank you, Kelly. Welcome back to the Olympic velodrome, 16 miles southwest of Paris. The Olympic final in the men's team sprint is about to get underway. Second gold medal of the week available. Great Britain's women took the first in this discipline last night. Victoria Pendleton. If Great Britain's men win the gold tonight against this Dutch team, that will be, and we've already said it today, one of the great, was certainly in the velodrome, one of the great upsets, Olympic upsets.
It will be. Netherlands are definitely ranked as number 1 riders in the world right now. They have posted the fastest time in the world ever, and they are a very experienced team. So they're going to be a hard team to beat, but anything can happen. So if you are Ed Lowe, Hamish Turnbull, Jack Carlin, what's the mindset? Do you go into this race, Victoria, believing you can? You have to go in believing you can win. Yeah, give it absolutely everything, and of course they will. It's the Olympics. It's a gold, silver medal ride-off at the Olympics. They're going to give it 100%.
Well, the velodrome's a picture, and there's a lovely balance actually between bright orange and the red, white, and blue of the Dutch flags, and the Union flags from the British fans on the opposite side of the velodrome to us. We have vivid orange in front of us because the highest ranked team in the competition, the Netherlands, who broke that world record in their last ride, are lining up on the start line in front of us. We'll need to keep our voices down when that gets underway. And Great Britain, Ed Lowe, Hamish Turnbull, Jack Carlin will start on the far side of the track. They are up against the Olympic champions, the world champions, the European champions, sprint royalty basically, Roy van den Berg, Harry Levraersen, Jeffrey Hoogland. And if you looked at their faces while they were sitting and waiting and getting ready to race, that was 100% focus, concentration, determination. You sense they will not be denied.
No, I know it's going to be a tough ride for the GB team, but I mean, there's always hope. Always keep your fingers crossed and hope that everything goes to plan.
Yep.
And do a good ride that they can feel proud of.
That is all that Great Britain can do. Here we go then. Olympic final, men's team sprint. Gold medal up for grabs. Dutch team in front of us. Huge hulking figures drive forward. Van den Berg will take them out fast. That is raw power and brute force. The British team appear to our left-hand side into the home straight. Let's see where we are at the first split. 125 metres, and the Dutch are already ahead. They're already flying into the home straight in front of us, and after the first lap, Great Britain 0.2 behind. 0.2
the second behind. Now the second lap is where it can all be brought back. So let's just see what Hamish Turnbull can do in the second lap.
We're about to hear the bell. Harry Levraersen has built the lead for the Dutch. Great Britain already a half a second behind. So much here for Jack Carlin to do. Half a lap to go. Jeffrey Hoogland comes flying round the Olympic velodrome. Great Britain are chasing Dutch ghosts here, and it's another world record. 40.949 seconds. They've smashed it again in the space of less than an hour. Great Britain take the silver medal. Absolutely no disgrace in that. The Dutch destroyers have done it again. They are untouchable in this event. They have defended their Olympic title, and Great Britain take the applause from the British fans. They met their match tonight. They were chasing shadows all the way round, and they just couldn't keep up with the Dutch, but no one can.
No one can at this moment, but a great performance from the Jack Carlin, Hamish Turnbull and Ed Lowe. They put on a great ride, and they're a young team. There's still time. There's still time for them to develop and improve, and I think they've done themselves really proud. This silver medal is probably the best they could have expected coming into this competition.
Well, that's a really good point, Victoria. 2 events gone in the velodrome so far, and Great Britain on the podium twice. Women's team sprint took the gold last night, silver for the men's team sprint tonight, and let's not forget, in the men's team pursuit tomorrow, Great Britain will race Australia for the gold medal, and we haven't mentioned it on air as yet, but the Australian team today went out in the last heat, smashed the world record 1.5 seconds quicker than Great Britain, so that's going to be another epic battle tomorrow, and that's going to be another really tough one for Great Britain.
They're going to have to rethink their strategy, have a think what they can do to try and squeeze out a couple of tenths of a second in that ride each, but it's going to be a great battle tomorrow between Australia and Great Britain in the men's team pursuit.
Silver medals tonight for Ed Lowe, Hamish Turnbull and Jack Carlin, because this incredible Dutch sprint team have taken the gold medal. Roy van den Berg, Harry Levraersen and Jeffrey Hoogland, just a blur of bright orange around the velodrome tonight, and they are your Olympic champions.
That was Alice Bruce Ball and Victoria Pendleton. Thank you very much for that. We've all got a little bit giddy here in the commentary positions at the Stade de France because we have Olympic gold medalist Keely Hodgkinson with us. Keely, congratulations on a fantastic run yesterday. You said that it wouldn't feel real until you got that medal around your neck. So we've just seen your medal ceremony.
Yeah.
How was it? Was it everything you hoped it would be?
Yeah, I think this whole championship has been everything I hoped it would be. You know, you work so hard in the hope that just this 4 days goes perfectly, and I was just so happy to get it right here in the Olympic Stadium. It was, everything I could have dreamt of, and hearing the national anthem on a global stage is something that I've wanted for a long time, so I'm just so happy to finally do that.
Yeah, you had a little wobble even before the national anthem got underway.
Yeah, I did. No, it was definitely emotional, and I could see Jenny and Trevor in the corner as well, and they're just a huge part of my team. So out in Tokyo, Trevor wasn't there, so to get him here and experiencing this, and we've gone one better, it's just such a great team effort.
How have you been celebrating?
Everyone keeps asking me that, but no, I went and found my family last night. Everyone was having a couple of drinks and really taking in the moment and enjoying themselves, and I'm just happy that I've managed to put smiles on their faces as well.
Alison Kirby's trying to come in. We're just making sure that your microphone's working.
I was just saying, everyone's asked her that, Kel. Come on, get another question in. Somebody hasn't asked her today.
Do you know what? You put all that work in over so much time, and you have this goal in front of you, and finally you reach it, and you do it in such a spectacular way.
Yeah, thank you.
But that's why it's interesting to know what you do in the immediate aftermath of it, because I don't think, nobody listening really is going to be able to put themselves in that position. That's why it's an interesting question.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think there's a mix of emotions that go through your head. I mean, one, you're absolutely knackered because you put yourself through pain the last couple of days, racing rounds, the nervousness, the stress. That happens to every athlete, and nerves are such a good thing, but it's so tiring. So to come off the back of that, be emotionally high, your brain can't shut off. You want to go out and celebrate, but your body's screaming to go to bed. It's a real mix of things, but yeah, it's all worth it. For a few moments of tiredness, I can cope, it's fine.
You know, Keely, your life has changed forever. don't you? Did you do realise that, don't you? When you go back with a short journey across to the UK, all the fans that you've delivered for, what are you most excited about by being an Olympic champion?
Well, I guess I've seen so many great examples of Olympic champions in our sport. You know, we've had Jess Ennis, we've had Kelly Holmes, and just their legacy has continued for a long time, so it's such an honour for me to join that calibre of women that we have. But I'm just looking forward to the opportunities that come my way. I think that's the exciting part. That's the part I'm looking forward to. Along with the training hard, I'll find a way to enjoy it all.
You know what I thought you were going to say, because we were talking now with you just before you came on air, and I said, where's that gold medal going to live, Keely? And she says, when I get myself a nice house, it's going to be put in a beautiful position. So it's things like that, the reward of the hard work, that means, you know what, I've earned this, and I deserve this. So we're so proud of you. I'm just throwing that out there before we carry on.
Thank you so much.
Andrew, I know you want to come in with a question as well.
Yeah, another fan here, Keely. Incredible yesterday. Honestly, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
What's next for you? And I don't mean running, but what are you going to do now to switch off? Are you going to have a couple of normal person days, or are you going to stick in athlete mode?
Yeah, I feel like I'm going into full normal 22-year-old mode. I'm going to go join my family in Marbella, where I grew up going on holiday with them there, and I've not been on a family holiday since 2019. And my siblings are now a lot older, so with my brother's 20, my sister's 18, my other sister's 15, so I feel like we can all have a good time together and just switch off from the world, and I look forward to celebrating that moment with them because they've sacrificed just as much helping me.
Can you relax everything? Can you have carbs before marbs?
I was going to say that.
I've heard that saying a few times this week. Yeah, no, I look forward to sipping a nice sangria on the beach, if I'm being honest.
Have the siblings started, they've had one day to get used to the fact that their sister's an Olympic champion. Have they started using it yet?
I don't think they've any idea, to be honest. To be fair, my sister texted me a really nice text this morning saying, "Good morning, Olympic champ.
Oh, wow.
I'm so proud of you." So yeah, it's really nice to have them here. It's definitely been a journey for all of us.
And I think Crammy said it in his commentary. Half of Wigan were here last night. Is that right?
Yes, I think so. I had over 40 people from home come out, from my family and friends of my mum and dad's, all supporting me. So yeah, it's great to see people that I don't know and people that I do know really getting behind me. It was amazing.
Could you hear them? Did you know they were there?
I feel like you can feel it in the atmosphere, you can feel the British presence here. It's so loud. It stands out just as much as the French, which is absolutely incredible. And I wasn't expecting that. So to have that as well just made the moment even more special.
You've talked a lot about them. You mentioned them to Kelly there about Trev and Jenny. Kath and I were in teams with Trev, when he was a lot lighter than he is now. He was a really good 400 runner. And obviously Jenny is a very, very good 800 runner, world medalist herself. Just tell her. You mentioned them as a team. How much have they been?
To me, they're the absolute dream team. I couldn't have fallen into the hands of better people. I was incredibly lucky to be born 7 miles from where they live. And when I asked them to take me on only 5 years ago, and I remember 17-year-old me was sat there nervous thinking, please say yes, please let me. And I had a great coach before then that got me to where I am, but I really wanted to go to that next level. And Jenny and Trevor were the perfect people, and we've done it. We've got to the top and the pinnacle of our sport, and I just hope we can keep it going.
Just tell me a bit more about that process of you actually getting them to train you. Was it just you cold calling or cold emailing?
So I'd met Jenny previously over the years. She got involved with getting involved with the youth, so the upcoming people in the sport, and she knew I was from a local area, and I just thought, well, who better than someone who's been there and done it, won world medals on the global stage, and so she'd be a great role model, and it'd be an absolute honour if they would be likely to coach me. And I think they debated it for a couple of days. I remember thinking, they've not replied yet, they haven't replied yet, and I was actually in Marbella when I sent this email, so
maybe that's why they knew you were in Marbella, and they're going, does she really mean it? She's in Marbs.
I like the idea of a sangria-fueled email. It's like, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to go and do it.
But you've got somebody in your team, Phoebe Gill, who has just had the best experience. A 17-year-old going through the rounds, and her teammates just come back with the gold. I mean, how good has it been? I mean, you're the elder stateswoman. You're 22.
I know, it's been crazy. I've had the pleasure of getting to know Phoebe the last couple of days. I took her out for lunch. I wanted to make sure she felt welcome, and she's so young. She is like a little sister. She's my sister's age, which is crazy. So her coming here, she should be so proud of herself, and the experience she'll have is something that no 17-year-old, barely any ever in the world will have, and that's got to give us a lot of confidence going forward.
Alison, you were talking the other day about the difference between you and your sister, and how, in terms of personality, and how much athletics affected the way that you are as a person, and most 22-year-olds are still very much figuring their life out. They're still 100%. Working out who they want to be, and I suppose there's a part of that is true for you. But how do you feel that athletics has affected you? Because you're talking now about being sensible after winning a gold medal, about maybe getting your own house, about getting your but you're talking about things that seem much more mature than they would be for a 22-year-old.
Yeah, I feel like the cards that I've been given, I almost had to grow up a little bit. I'm kind of thrown into the adult world quite soon. So yeah, that's just what I've been dealt with, and I'm grateful to be in that position. As much as it changed my life, it was a great thing to do. But yeah, I just look forward to the future and what that brings, and athletics definitely does. I want to say alter your personality a little bit. You know, you've got to be disciplined. You've got to make sacrifices, and I'm not doing what some of my friends are doing, and that's nothing against them at all. We just live completely different lives, and they're so supportive of me and what I do, and they completely understand. But yeah, this is just the life I've chose to live, so I've got to give it my all.
The huge roar while you were talking to Keely there, Kelly, was the fact that the French athlete in the second semi-final of the women's 400 metres hurdles, Louise Marabel, has qualified for the Olympic final behind world record holder Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. But it still wasn't as loud as the roar for Keely Hodgkinson last night. I have to ask you, have you seen Josh Kerr today, and what do we think about Josh in that final tonight?
I haven't seen him, but I'm so looking forward to watching him. I love Josh's energy, I love his attitude, and he's more vocally confident than I am, I think. But he's a great character to have in the sport, and I really think he can bring home a gold. If we can get 2 golds in the next 2 days, that would be absolutely incredible.
Keely, can I ask you one last really girly question? The nails are amazing. Tell me, are they purple to match the track?
They are. Nike actually made me these nails. They're press-ons, but the theme was that this is I keep saying it wrong, but the goddess of victory. Obviously, that's what Nike was named after, and the purple to go with the purple track. So yeah,
look fantastic and perfect for a gold medalist. Keely, thanks so much for coming up to talk to us.
No, thank you for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure talking to Keely Hodgkinson. We have got loads more sport coming up for us throughout the evening here on 5 Live Sport, live from the Stade de France. There's so much been going on, and as you were saying, Catherine, the women's 400 metres hurdles semi-finals have been taking place, but disappointment there for Great Britain.
Yeah, 3 semi-finals as usual here in Paris, and Lena Nielsen, she wasn't in a automatic qualifying spot in the first semi-final and tripped and fell off the 10th and final barrier, and understandably was crying and sobbing her heart out on the track. So disappointment for Lena Nielsen in that first semi-final. She will obviously therefore not continue, but we've still got Jessie Knight to come, who went through the repechage system, and it's a tough ask for Jessie in this third semi-final. And as previously mentioned, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, the world record holder, looking supreme. But we've also got British athletes in the field final tonight. Jacob Fincham-Jukes is on both of the big screens here at the Stade de France in the men's long jump final. Mattia Falane, the young Italian, leads with a jump of 8 metres and 34, which is huge from the young Italian. And we're just quickly awaiting, Kelly, the distance. 7 metres and 96 he jumped in qualifying for this Olympic long jump final. And right ahead of our commentary position here on the far side of the Stade de France, 7 metres and 95 was the opener for Fincham-Jukes.
Let's check in at the football. It's the semi-final for the women of USA and Germany. They're into extra time. Maz Faruqi's watching.
They are. Sophia Smith's goal still the difference from a few minutes ago. Into the second period of extra time now. Emma Hayes' side on the brink of the gold medal match. 4.5 minutes they need to hold on now. Germany having to chase the game. USA 1, Germany 0. We play 4.5 more minutes to find out who's going to be in the gold medal match.
Maz, thank you very much for that. Looking forward to updates from Maz Faruqi, and then of course later on in the second semi-final it's Brazil against Spain. So we're underway, as we said, in the semi-finals of the 400 metre hurdles. If all goes to plan, it'll be Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone and Femke Bol head to head for the first time since 2022 in the final on Thursday. And this, Alison, is one of the great rivalries, and Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone against Femke Bol is one to look forward to should it go to plan.
Absolutely. You know, we've been talking about the clash of the titans on the track with Josh and Jakob in the 1500, but you know, Femke Bol and Sydney McLaughlin has just been getting more and more exciting because they haven't been racing each other. They haven't raced each other since the World Championship that Sydney McLaughlin won 2 years ago, 2022. She decided to focus on the 400 last year, and that's when Femke Bol took the world title and has just got quicker and quicker and quicker. And she's still, 0.4 away from Sydney's time, and what we've just seen there in Sydney, you know, look, she is beautiful to watch over the hurdles. She's running times now over hurdles, her and Femke, that I would have been happy with on the flat. And they're going over 2'6" barriers. But yeah, I think we're just going to see them a lot closer than we've ever seen them before, and that's what you want, rivalry.
Yeah, because that, as you say, that gap has closed in the meantime. Eilidh Doyle has talked about them both actually in terms of their technique, and said it is so smooth and so elegant that it takes, Lewis Smith said this at the gymnastics, it takes an awful lot of work to make something look as easy and as natural as they make it look.
Yeah, so what they're doing as well, they're both very quite rangy athletes, very tall. Femke even taller than Sydney. Femke's about 6'1", 6'1.5". What that means is her stride pattern, she can actually do less strides than, say, somebody like Sally Gunnell. Her stride pattern used to be 17 strides between the hurdles. They're doing 14s. And the speed that they're generating, and usually what happens with the hurdles, they get to hurdle usually 5, maybe 6. They're going to hurdle 7 and then doing what's called change down, where they add another stride, because you're just starting to get a little bit tired. And to keep the momentum going and the speed, rather than kind of doing long lopey strides, they've got the cadence back, so they add another extra stride in, so they're changing down to 15s and coming home on the same lead leg. And that is just seeing them, and they're both very, very good world-class 400 flat runners. I mean, that's the cheer for Femke Bol. You know, she is the Dutch princess. They absolutely love her. And, you know, she's the nicest person as well. You know, Keely still stayed with us to watch this, but everyone on the circuit loves Femke Bol. You know, everyone's a Femke fan. And that's the problem. We haven't been able to warm to Sydney because we don't see her. She never comes to race, very rarely comes to Europe to race. So you don't really get a chance to sort of build that rapport with someone.
And taking you through it then, the women's 400 metres hurdle is its the third semi-final of 3. It features Femke Bol and Catherine Merry's here.
So from the British Queen to the Dutch Queen, lining up in this third and final semi-final. A reminder, the first 2 guaranteed a place in the final on Thursday. Femke Bol, a huge roar around the Stade de France. Remember, she already has a medal, a gold medal from earlier at the Olympics in the mixed 4x400 metre relay. But the 400 metre hurdles, she said, is where my heart is. The world indoor record holder of 400 metres. As Alison said, her flat speed is outstanding. And she starts here in lane number 6. Anna Cockrell of the USA starts outside her, second at the US Olympic trials. A reminder, Great Britain and Northern Ireland's Lena Nielsen fell in the first semi-final. But there is British interest in this race in lane number 3. The 3-time UK champion, Jessie Knight, got through the repechage, ran in the heat at the Olympic Games, but is back in 2024, and she starts in lane number 3. It's really noisy in the Stade de France at this moment in time. That brilliant men's long jump competition is taking place. A reminder, Mattia Filani, the Italian, leads in the early stages, and Great Britain does have representation with Fincham Dukes jumping just under 8 metres on his first effort. The camera focusing on Femke Bol, the third and final semi-final of the women's 400 metre hurdles. A top 2 spot gets you into the final on Thursday. Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, easy as you like, 52.13. What's Bol got? It was a false start, and I'll tell you why I knew it was going to be a false start, Alison. There's an official just standing to the right of lane number 9 on the greyer part of the track outside the purple bit, who was both hands in the air, jazz, shaking them jazz style, getting the attention of the starter, who literally is just in front of us here in the Stade de France. And so you knew it was going to be recalled, which it is, and we'll keep an eye on what's going to happen here. A reminder, if any of our nice officials, with their very fetching uniform and hats, by the way, bring out a green card, that means nobody will be removed, right? Anything on the systems, Al?
I'm just looking for reaction time. No one's tried to jump the gun. Unless Anna Cockrell hasn't got...
Yeah. A reaction time of 0.1 or under.
Camera zooming in and zoning in on Anna, but no, I can't see anybody.
No. Well, interestingly, Anna Cockrell, the American I previously mentioned, doesn't have a reaction time on our system, so maybe there's a technical issue.
Green card.
Yeah. Anyway, the gentleman that was shaking his jazz hands has come onto the track with his green card and is now going back in his position just outside of lane number 9. Heat number 3 then, semi-final number 3 of the women's 400-metre hurdles. Femke Bol slaps herself on both sides of her face to get herself up for this one. Jessie Knight from Windsor, Slough, Eton and Hounslow, 54.15 seconds this year, just outside her lifetime best, Jessie Knight. She's going to have to run probably faster than that to have a chance of getting in the Olympic final on Thursday. They're brought to their marks again. The shake of the legs into the 2 blocks in lane number 6 for Femke Bol. Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone would have already left the building to get ready for the final on Thursday. Or is she watching somewhere on a screen? No jazz hands needed at the second time of asking. Femke Bol moving nicely in lane number 6, as is Anna Cockrell outside of the American in lane number 7. Jessie Knight moving nicely so far, the British athlete in lane number 3. Pretty even down the back straight. Femke Bol on that stride pattern that Alison was talking about, hits the 200-metre line. Jessie Knight past the British fans at the 200-metre point, probably in about 5th or 6th here. Femke Bol changing that stride. Cockrell, the American outsider, in 2nd place. There's a 2-metre lead for the European record holder. The Jamaican Salmon's going well on the inside of Femke Bol. Jessie Knight down in about 6th or 7th place. Femke Bol, though, the 10th and final hurdle, nicely done, striding away. There's a real battle behind her for the 2nd automatic spot, but by 3 metres, Femke Bol, 52.56 seconds, and Anna Cockrell from the USA, who was 5th at the World Championships last year, gets the 2nd automatic spot. So slightly slower, Alison, than Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. Who looked best to you?
I think that Femke switched off once she got the stride pattern nailed. She got over the final flight and really just coasted in. I think we'll see Femke 100% firing on all cylinders, and it's going to be a really, really interesting battle between her and Sydney.
It is going to be a fantastic battle, as you say. Alison Turpentine, Catherine Merrier here. Andrew Assaji is also with us, and I'm watching Femke Bol and earlier Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone racing, watching their technique, Andrew. It's so smooth, but also it's incredibly quick, and it's going to make for a fantastic final.
Oh, it's going to be a fantastic final. I think athletics, in terms of the Olympics, is built on head-to-heads, and this is definitely one of the premier head-to-heads, I think. And we spoke about it just before. They're coming at this race and this season completely different attitudes in terms of the volume of races they do. So Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone races very, very rarely. I think she's only run the 4 hurdles at the Olympic trials in the US and won them and broke a world record, and now she's here. Where Femke Bol loves racing. She run the 4x4 mixed relay already at this Olympics to take the gold in it with an incredible final leg. She races through the season in the Diamond League, so it's going to be an incredible head-to-head. They're both lovely people, so it's not kind of a hate-love kind of Marmite situation, but it's definitely going to be one of the kind of blue ribbon events of this Olympics, I'm sure.
Yeah, going to be fantastic to watch that one when it takes place. We will bring you that, of course, here on 5 Live. Thursday is the final of the women's 400 metres hurdles. It's all over in the first semi-final in the evening. The women of the USA and Germany have gone head-to-head. Who's come out on top? That's Faruqi.
Well, a typical battling display from Emma Hayes' side in this semi-final, Kelly. USA holding on at times against Germany tonight and Lyon, particularly with a chance for Germany in the last few minutes as they chased the game. But the USA doing exactly what they did in this match as they did against Japan in the last day. They are the first finalists. Sophia Smith with the only goal of the game in the 5th minute extra time. Full time in Lyon, it's finished. USA 1, Germany 0. Will it be Brazil or the world champions Spain who are going to join them in the gold medal match? That one kicks off in the next 25 minutes in Marseille.
Maz, thank you very much for that. In the Champions League qualifiers, Rangers are in action. They're looking for a place in the new style of group phase in the Champions League this season. They're taking on Dynamo Kiev, and Galvin Wallace is watching.
35 minutes gone, Dynamo Kiev 0, Rangers 0, although Kiev have had the ball in the back of the net. Vladislav Vanat headed home from close range after McCausland lost his man, but from the initial shot, Butland saved well, but the Ukraine forward just headed home, but he was offside in the build-up to that, so no goal given. Rangers have had one attempt on goal, and it went flying by the left-hand post, but 35 gone, Dynamo Kiev 0, Rangers 0.
Gavin, thank you very much for that. It is time now to build up to arguably one of the most anticipated athletics finals at these Olympic Games. Josh Kerr goes for gold in the 1500.
Josh Kerr is going to win the World 1500 metre title.
He's a racer. We want racers, and he's a racer.
I thought that was about what it would take.
If Josh says it, he believes it. He doesn't say anything for a fact.
And Josh Kerr, in the sunglasses, Alison, the dark blue British kit, has gone straight to the front of this semi-final.
You know, for me, I'm just a driven individual that's looking to see if you can get into the top of your sport without breaking any rules. The goal of being an Olympic champion is an addiction.
Catherine Merry, Alison Kirbishley and Andrew Assaji are here for this one. Catherine, this could be something really special.
It could. We are all hoping it can be something really special. Everybody knows, we've talked about it in the lead up to these Olympics. We've been talking about it for a couple of years, haven't we? They're not the best of friends, these two, the Norwegian and our British guy. But that's what makes it spicy, is the word we've been using. And I think it's going to come down, as we spoke with Keely last night, how's it going to be run? And I mean, Jakob's the quicker athlete. On paper, he's 3 seconds quicker than Josh Kerr, but this is championship racing. There's no pacemakers, there's no lights. Jakob has the endurance, Josh has the speed. Let's just throw it up in the air and see where it lands, right? Both would be deserving, by the way, but will it be the defending champion Jakob Ingebrigtsen or the world champion Josh Kerr? We'll find out soon.
As Kath was just outlining there, Alison, there are two huge elements to this race. One is the personal rivalry that has got a little bit snarky, and I don't want to lie, we love a bit of beef between the athletes going into this one. But the other one is a more tactical aspect, which is how they can both get the gold medal in this race. So just explain a bit more to me about how Ingebrigtsen can have the faster times, but Josh Kerr could still come out potentially with the gold medal.
Well, as Kath said, Jakob is a special athlete ever since he burst on the scene as an 18-year-old and started winning medals at senior level and posting times that we've never seen somebody so young do. He's just got quicker and quicker. He's the fourth quickest over this distance, but he's also an absolutely world-class and the Olympic champion, the world champion over 5,000 metres as well. So he has this strength and depth. But what he's been doing when he posts the quick times, he does them on the circuit with a pacemaker and with the wave lights that take, and he has the ability to just create this. I mean, he is just running times from the gun. When you're doing them in a championship setting on your own, it's so difficult. You do not want to be the pacemaker for the rest of the field. And each time he's been beaten by Josh Kerr, or the year before, Jake Whiteman, the other Brit, he was the pacemaker. And they sat on his shoulder and then they swept by him and he didn't have anything to react. So what we'll see tonight, and I don't know, this is what's making this, and Andrew might have a view as well, this is what makes it really exciting. He won't want to do the work from the gun because he knows what's happened in the last two, and why would you do it again if it's failed? Why would you do it again? Timothy Cheruiyot, who took it out at the last Olympic Games, the Kenyan, knows that Jakob did to him what he doesn't want to happen again. So he will not be the pacemaker tonight. So everybody else in this field, there's 11 other men, they're going to go, no, Jakob, if you want to win this, you're going to have to win it from the out. Josh Kerr, in the meantime, is just going to say, just do what you did last year and I'm going to be there. I am going to be breathing down your neck. And I really don't think you'll see Josh Kerr hit the front until he's ready to run in and take the tape. And that's what makes it exciting. Can Jakob, he won't lead from the gun. I think you probably will see him drift to the back. but he will make it hard, and he will run it at world record pace at some point in this race, and that's when he hopes he's just going to burn the kick out of everyone else. Is he fit enough to do that? That's what we don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I think the semi-final was quite telling in terms of the tactic that Jakob, I think, is probably going to employ in the final as well. I think at some point he's going to be running at world record pace, for sure. Whether that's going to be from the gun or not, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it will be 300 or 400 metres in. He'll let somebody else go to the front, let them decide what they do or don't do, get nervous, whatever, and then he'll take on the last 1,200 or so at world record pace. And if you can stick with him, which I believe Josh can, and I believe there's maybe Yared Nuguse may be able to after his display in the semi-final to get through, then you've got a chance. And that's Jakob's skill. That's his super skill. Stick with me if you can, but if you can't, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to pick the pace up every 100 metres until I take the gold home with me. I cannot wait for this one. I literally am getting goosebumps and I'm nervous already.
Listen, if you're nervous already, wait till you hear this. It's the man himself, Josh Kerr, in an unfiltered interview on his determination to win gold and just how the intense rivalries in the 1,500 metres drive him to succeed.
Josh, complete this sentence for me. On Tuesday, the 6th of August, 2024...
Josh Kerr gets crowned as the Olympic 1500 metre champion. Someone has to win this race. Why not me? It's what I told my family before Budapest. I was like, it's now or never. I felt like I was hiding a secret in Budapest of how fit and ready I was to go. And maybe people weren't looking at me as much as they were looking at others.
There goes Josh Kerr. Ingebrigtsen cannot hold him. It's Ingebrigtsen against Josh Kerr. Josh is going to get there. It's gold. World champion Josh Kerr.
I don't know if our missus loves this one because she's just screaming like a kettle, but yeah, a very emotional time.
Josh, how would you describe yourself as a person?
That's a great question. I haven't been asked that in a long time. So, you know, I'm a very driven individual that doesn't really have much of a filter. It's probably the best way to describe me. So sometimes things come across in certain ways that, you know, make some headlines that I wasn't supposed to, but that's kind of par for the course with any sport is, you know, you can be loved one minute and hated the next, and so you just kind of have to be yourself. I think with the sunglasses, it definitely lets me stand out, and when the glasses go on, it's game time. In the World Championships last year, I was wearing the darker sunglasses before heading out, so you couldn't see my eyes. And I chucked them on in the call room. You know, I was just looking around and seeing what people were doing, and no one knew where I was looking, so people were getting a little bit peeved off at me and just let me know. They were asking, you know, are you looking at me? And I was like, yeah, maybe I am, maybe I'm not, but, you know, it'll rile some people up. I'm going to be myself, and people can take that as they want, but for me, I'm not too worried about anyone else's perceptions of me. We have some amazing characters within my sport, big personalities like Jakob Ingebrigtsen that has a lot of fans, and you know, he goes out and competes pretty hard and very consistent on the world stage.
Ingebrigtsen, he's going to win the Olympic title. It's gold for Norway.
I believe that I'm, you know, currently the best 1500 metre runner in the world, and you know, I think he believes he's the best 1500 metre runner in the world. So our personalities clash a little bit when it comes to that, and it's pretty raw.
If you stumble, you fall, someone is gonna win the race. He was just the next guy.
Did you say the next guy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He can be disrespectful to me, that's fine. I still have the World Championship gold medal. People are excited about talking about that rivalry, and, you know, I'm not going to shy away from talking about it, and I'm all for it.
He recently stated that he could have beaten you blindfolded.
No comment. I think we have a lot of similarities, but yeah, it clashes sometimes. Rivalries are great for the sport. It keeps engagement. It's kind of a back and forth between all of us big players in the 1500, and over the last 5 years or so, we've had a different world or Olympic champion every year.
It's Jake Whiteman of Great Britain with Ingebrigtsen on his shoulder, and he is gonna do it!
Myself and Whiteman beating him in the last couple of years of major championships. So the storylines are, yeah, everywhere right now in the 1500, and you know, we're doing our best to keep it relevant and keep it exciting for people to watch.
A brilliant Olympic bronze medal for Josh Kerr.
When you look at the colour of that medal, what do you think about that?
It's a yawn fest now, you see. It's a bad colour, that one. And, you know, again, look, I don't really sit around and look at my medals, but that one needs to be changed. The goal of being an Olympic champion is an addiction. Emotions are going to be extremely high in Paris. You know, the storylines in the media is going to be crazy. I know I can handle the pressure. I am the best in the world, and I visualize that 1500-meter final. I know exactly what I'm going to be doing. There's 12 individuals on that Paris start line, and I'm going to do my best to try and beat every single one. If I have to look at any other colour than gold over the next 4 years, it's going to be really frustrating.
It's an absolutely fascinating, gripping rivalry between Josh Kerr and Jakob Ingebrigtsen. And Andrew, when we talk about the tactics of this race, how much does the psychological aspect play into this? How much of it starts before they even set foot on the track?
Oh, I think almost all of it. They're training as hard as they can in the winter. Neither of them is training harder than the other one. So when you get to the start line of the Olympic final, it is about how you can handle the pressure, how you can react quicker than the other athlete, and how you've sort of prepared mentally to capitalise on the other athlete's weaknesses. And I think Josh is really driven, really focused, a singular kind of way to do things. But he's got so many tactics at his disposal that he can employ today to potentially win. I think Jakob's maybe not got as many skills, strange to say, 4th fastest of all time. But I think that's where at least Josh has got more potential.
I just wonder if maybe Josh Kerr feels a little bit unappreciated, and this idea that Jakob Ingebrigtsen is tapping into that by saying, oh, was he in the race? I didn't even really notice. Though he's not really a rival, he's not really there. I wonder if that's pushing on a sore spot.
I don't think Josh even cares, to be honest. He really just wanted to get in that final. I mean, I don't think he even cares what Jakob says when he says things like that.
And that is the cheer for Josh Kerr as he gets his drama entrance. That is the cheer and the reception, I would say, Catherine Murray.
They're coming in at the 200-metre point. Let's listen to the reception Ingebrigtsen gets following Josh Kerr. He's just taken the biggest breath intake ever. He's coming out looking cool, calm and relaxed, the Norwegian Viking. On the opposite, Josh Kerr screaming, telling everybody to make some more noise.
I think that's fascinating, Alison. Especially from what Andrew was saying about how it starts before they even get onto the track, and Josh Kerr coming on in his now familiar sunglasses, and they're just starting to get themselves ready for this race.
Look, the posturing, the play acting, it finally has reached the climax. Over to you, Kath.
The final of the men's Olympic 1500 metres. The last man to join the 12-man lineup doing his final high knees is Jakob Ingebrigtsen, and he puffs out his cheeks again. The camera focusing on Josh Kerr. The glasses are in place. Jakob Ingebrigtsen, Josh Kerr, Neil Gawley representing Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Yardner Goose, the American record holders, in here. He fixes his hair, Jakob Ingebrigtsen, as he stands 3 places in from the outside line. The camera sweeping across, a nice smile from Josh Kerr. He's relaxed, he's ready to go, and the crowd respond again to the Scottish athlete. The talking stops now. Britain have won Olympic gold in this event 5 times before. Will tonight be the 6th? The final of the men's 1500 metres. The crowd asked to settle down for one of the biggest races in the Paris Olympic Games. They're brought to their marks. The gun goes in the men's 1500 metre final. The roar has gone up, and Josh Kerr has put himself right at the front of the field, and literally 3 metres behind him, Alison Kirbishley, is Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Josh Kerr has slowed down though. Oh, is there some tactics there early doors? Because Jakob Ingebrigtsen thought he needed to settle in, but Josh Kerr slows down. Jakob Ingebrigtsen's now at the front.
Well, he means business, doesn't he? He's decided to sweep through to the front of this pack, and already you can tell it's quick. You don't even need to look at the clock because they've strung out. The only man to go with him is Coleman. You've got Chariot, the other Kenyan, behind him, and Josh Kerr is just saying, right, that's fine. I'll sit in your slipstream, Jakob. And they're through 350 metres. As they turn the crown of the bend, we're going to see something quick here. They're going already at 54-second pace. That is world record pace.
Down the back straight for the first time of asking. Ingebrigtsen leads. Coleman, the Kenyan, in second. Josh Kerr, the world champion, in third. There's a breakaway of 6 athletes as they pass the 200-metre point for the second time of asking. Round the top bend, the fans are going to enjoy this one. Jakob Ingebrigtsen in control, looking cool, calm and relaxed, as is Josh Kerr, less than 1 metre behind in third.
Yeah, and he's still keeping the pace relentless. He's keeping his foot down. It's still stringing everybody out. This is like watching a Diamond League with a pacemaker at the front. Josh Kerr is sitting about a metre behind Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Coleman sitting on the shoulder of Jacob, and the former world champion there, Timothy Chariot, is sitting on the shoulder of Josh Kerr. They come round with 800 metres to go. We look at the clock. It was 150 when it was a world record. It's 151. The pace is still there, and there's a tiny gap appearing, Kath.
Jakob Ingebrigtsen's putting his foot down in his bright orange spikes in this final. Josh Kerr is tracking his every move, still in third. Jakob Ingebrigtsen, the defending Olympic champion, twice the world 5,000 metre champion, is cranking this one up. They are stretching this field out, and so far Ingebrigtsen is in the lead. Chariot now in second for Kenya, and Josh Kerr still in the glasses in bronze.
Well, this time round they're going to hear the bell, and the bell will toll for Jakob Ingebrigtsen. He's pretty much led this from gun to tape. Is it going to be tape? It's Jakob Ingebrigtsen. It's Timothy Chariot of Kenya. It's Josh Kerr of Great Britain.
The final lap of the men's 1500 metres Olympic final. Ingebrigtsen leads. He's looking over his right shoulder. Where are you, Josh Kerr, he's saying. And I can tell you, the Scottish athlete is coming. Ingebrigtsen looks over his shoulder again with 250 metres to go. Ingebrigtsen leads. Josh Kerr coming up onto his shoulder. Chariot, the Kenyan, is going backwards. And all of a sudden, it looks like we've potentially got a 2-horse race. But Cole Hocker of the USA is getting involved. 120 metres to go in the Olympic final. Ingebrigtsen still has the lead. Josh Kerr comes onto his shoulder, but look at the American. Look at the American. Cole Hocker's going to upset the party. Josh Kerr says, not on my watch, but he's going to be beaten. Neither Jakob Ingebrigtsen or Josh Kerr are the men's 1500 metres Olympic champion, because Cole Hocker from the USA has smashed the Olympic record, 3:27.65. The look of disappointment on Jakob Ingebrigtsen's face says it all. Josh Kerr smiles, goes straight over to say well done. Wow. The title goes to America, not Norway, not Great Britain and Northern Ireland. The biggest race of his life. Cole Hocker, the 23-year-old, confirmed in an Olympic record with the gold medal. Wow, he goes on his lap of honour. A photo finish is needed for the silver and the bronze medals here in this 1500 metre final. Josh Kerr is looking up at the screen. He's had a little wince on his face. Has he got a medal? What colour is the medal? Jakob Ingebrigtsen not paying too much attention at the moment, the disappointment on his face. Josh Kerr gets the silver medal. 3:27.79 in a national record. Yared Nuguse of the USA gets the bronze, and as Cole Hocker rings the bell, it's America 1, America 3, Josh Kerr the Olympic silver, Jakob Ingebrigtsen in fourth. Alison Kirbishley, talk me through what just happened.
I can't believe what I've just watched. I can't believe not only Cole Hocker running the absolute race of his life. I mean, Andrew Asagi mentioned him. We talked about Yared Nuguse as well. I mean, Yared Nuguse just got in the slipstream there. Cole Hocker, the door opened as soon as Josh Kerr drifted to the right-hand side. That was Josh Kerr's about 20 metres from the line. It really was. Jakob Ingebrigtsen cannot believe what has just happened. He's shaking his head. He's going to say, I'm sure, in many, many interviews as he goes through the mix zone, that he was the pacemaker. Well, you know, that's what happens at championships. There isn't a pacemaker. You've got to do it yourself. He has no other way of running. He has to make it hard and try and burn the sprint, burn the finish out of everyone else. And unfortunately, everyone else knows that, and everyone else has trained for that, and everyone else for the last 2 years has seen a man beat him, and they know that he is defeatable. He can be defeated, this guy. We're watching the replay. Yared Nuguse, what a last 20-30 metres for him. Cole Hocker, honestly, let's just put it in perspective. This is a guy who's the world indoor silver medalist. He was 6th at the Olympic Games last time round. He was 7th at the World Championships in Budapest. The 23-year-old has just smashed his personal best, running 3:27, almost 3 seconds off his best. He's going to be a hero in the States.
Our American colleagues who are further down on our right here at the Stade de France were going absolutely mental. If you'd have asked anybody, Kelly, and said, anybody else going to win this 1,500 metres? My American colleague Atto Bolden said, keep your eye on Cole Hocker. He wasn't wrong. They got first and third, and let me just put it into perspective. Jakob Ingebrigtsen was a clear 4th. He wasn't even dipping, he wasn't even in the shot. So the question for maybe Andrew Osagi to answer is, as a middle distance runner, did Jakob and Josh get tied up too much in each other? Neil Gorley, incidentally, came 10th in that 1,500 metre final.
I mean, as scary as it sounds, even at that pace, there are tactics that you need to deploy to protect your position. If you look at the replay or whatever you watch it back, you'll look at Jakob, look at the screen, about 2:20 to go. He looked again about 1:50 to go, and at that point he made the decision to move wide to push Josh out, so Josh ran further. That opened the door to Cole. And if you watch the way Cole has raced, like the last, I don't know how many years, but when you're winning indoor medals and you're winning the US Championships, you know how to race, right? You get out of gaps that aren't there, you find a space and you make it happen. That's exactly what happened. The scariest thing is that's all happening at 3:27 pace, a whole second below the old Olympic record. You've got to feel for Jakob because he's performed really well. It's just this time there's 3 people that have performed better than him in a final again.
And Andrew, even when you look at Josh Kerr, it's a new national record. He's managed to do that, and it still wasn't enough for gold.
Yeah, I know. He's going to be gutted, but knowing what Josh is like, he's going to be, and he was the first person to go straight across to Hocker to give him a handshake, take the dark glasses off, business is over, and congratulate him. Yes, he'll be painful inside for a long time, because I do think that he is the best, if not very close to being the best 1,500 metre runner in the world at this current time. But I'm sure he'll look back on this and say it was a job well done, despite being so disappointed probably not to win that gold.
And it's worth pointing out the national record that Josh Kerr has just taken there was a certain Sir Mohamed Farah, and he's took 3/10 off Mo Farah's national record, and Mo, as we know, was pretty good across a lot of distances. What Josh Kerr's done there is do the best in terms of times that he could possibly run, and as Keely Hodgkinson said previously before her Olympic gold, sometimes you do everything right and you still don't win. But it's interesting what Andrew is saying there. The tactics, the doors that were open, that American performance, honestly, Cole Hocker, that's an outstanding run. And Jakob Ingebrigtsen not being on the podium here in Paris, nobody would have got odds on that. Nobody.
But it was such a breakneck pace, Alison. You all said before the race, at some stage, this will be run at world record pace. Did you think that would be right out the blocks?
Not from the gun. I mean, I was talking to Crammy about it today, and he was the previous British record that stood for so long, and then Mo smashed it. We all knew Josh was in the shape. He took Crammy's British mile record this year, so we knew that he was in that sort of shape, and his personal best probably wasn't reflecting the sort of shape he was in. But I don't think, Andrew's just said it so articulately. Jakob can't run any other way. And I know it's awful to say I feel sorry for him, but everyone else that stood on that start line will have had a plan A, plan B, plan C, but he only has a plan A because he knows that they know he's got to go from the gun, because he can't sit back and let somebody else, and then because the quality of this field now, they're all almost sub 3:30 runners. The event has just moved on massively, and that's by far shoe technology, and Andrew will agree with me there, I know he will. Shoe technology, and we've all got to just revise the way that we think in terms of times. So of course records are going to be broken, but it's the breakneck speed we don't see. That's why we love championship races, because normally it's a game of chess. It's like you move, I cover that move. That wasn't that. It was just the gun, go, bang, Diamond League style. This is quick. But you're right, Andrew, Cole Hocker is a small athlete. And he's almost just like, I'm gonna hide, here I am. And he did. He's like half the size of everyone else.
He scurried into that little gap.
It's just like
hello. It was like
surprise.
a little crab. I'm here. And nobody would have been probably more surprised with the greatest of respect, because Josh Kerr was leading it. Let's not forget he'd lost Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Yared Nuguse was coming, and then the other American popped in on the inside.
Andrew, you've been based in America. What is this going to do for American distance running? Because they are a mad keen, like they're just, they're going to be going mental, aren't they, right now?
Oh yeah, 3 athletes in the top 5 in the metric mile, they call it. Obviously, but we're already looking to Prefontaine, the Prefontaine Classic next year, and how incredible that build-up's going to be, and just. It's something special in American middle distance, and they're going to embrace this, and Cole Hocker will be remembered forever as the kind of as a giant slayer. It's kind of a David and Goliath story, and I do wonder where he's going to go next, because he's been known as being a good tactical runner. He's good at performing and getting in top 3s, but not necessarily fast, and now he's done both. So I wonder if he's going to be the person that takes the mantle on to kind of take the 1500 to the next level. He's a 5k runner as well, he does decent 5,000s as well, so he's got a lot in his arsenal, and I think you're absolutely right. Now and when you think the last American to win this title wasn't that long ago, it was Rio, and it was one in the slowest time ever. The women could have run it. It was 3 minutes 50. Matt Centrovitz. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Americans have got really good history in this, and they've run it all different ways. But Matt was a great athlete, and again, similar to Cole Hocker, really good at getting in the right place at the right time. I think this is great, and as you mentioned, the strength that these guys have got now, running 3Ks and 5Ks. In Josh's case, breaking the world 2-mile record, right? He almost run 2 sub-4 minute miles back to back indoors. So these guys they can pick and choose the event they run. They can create rivalries across multiple events. They can drop down to the 8 if they're brave enough. Honestly, I think the middle distance, both the men and women at the moment, is such a good spot for bringing in new audiences and seeing new rivalries and seeing real head-to-head racing we probably haven't seen for a long time.
It's the 4th gold, wasn't it, ever for the US in this event. It's their 4th gold here in the track and field programme for the USA as well. Josh Kerr is just to our right, guys, and he's just made his way up to do the interviews, and he's standing next to Yared Nuguse, who's doing his interviews as well with American television. And Josh has unzipped his top, he's taking on the water, he's got his glasses on his head, and he is draped in the red, white and blue of the Union flag as well, because remember, he got bronze in Tokyo, he's gone to silver here in Paris. We've got a kind of Keely Hodgkinson story, haven't we? LA 2028.
And his adopted home as well, isn't it? He's based in America now, so maybe the stars are aligning. I know that we're doing it again and we're going, right, what's next? But I'm actually just pleased that he was smiling. I'm really pleased that he went straight to Cole Hocker, and I hope he's proud of that, because he was in the greatest 15 final I think I've ever witnessed in the Olympic Games.
And Jakob Ingebrigtsen, Kelly, quickly is talking to the BBC now, so hopefully we'll hear from him and Josh Kerr shortly.
Yeah, Jakob Ingebrigtsen finishing outside the medals in the men's 1500 metres. Huge shock. Cole Hocker takes gold. Josh Kerr of Great Britain in silver. Yared Nuguse of the United States with the bronze medal in that race. Still to come this evening, Lizzie Bell goes in the women's 3,000 metre steeplechase. In the women's 200 metre final, it's Dina Asher-Smith and Daryl Neita. We, though, are going to take a breath. Here's Nick Hatfield with the BBC News.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thank you, Kelly. Good evening. An 18-year-old man from Bolton is thought to be the first person to receive a prison sentence after the riots over the last week. Hundreds of people have been arrested with warnings some of those involved could face terrorism charges. Last night saw further trouble in Belfast. Melanie Jones is the Assistant Chief Constable of the Police Service of Northern Ireland.
The scenes we have witnessed over the past few days have been horrendous. There's been violence, racist assaults, damage to property, arson, racist slurs unashamedly uttered on our streets. This is not who we are as a society, and the majority of our citizens are rightly appalled by this behaviour.
Well, Sir Keir Starmer is holding another emergency COBRA meeting this evening. He says the government will take all necessary action to bring the disorder to an end. All the children who were injured in the knife attack in Southport and treated at Alderhay Hospital have been discharged now. 3 girls were killed at a dance class last week. 10 people, including 2 adults, were seriously injured and taken to hospitals across Merseyside. Kamala Harris has picked Tim Walz as her running mate for the presidential election. The Minnesota governor and former high school teacher will become vice president if she beats Donald Trump in November. Mr. Walz has called it the honour of a lifetime. J.D. Vance is Donald Trump's Republican running mate, and he's been reacting to the announcement at a rally in Philadelphia.
Tim Walz's record is a joke. He's been one of the most far-left radicals in the entire United States government at any level. But I think that what Tim Walz's selection says is that Kamala Harris has bent the knee to the far left of her party, which is what she always does. Kamala Harris listened to the Hamas wing of the party. She selected Tim Walz, a guy who wants to ship more manufacturing jobs to China.
The water regulator has proposed fining 3 companies £168 million in total over historic sewage spills. Thames, Yorkshire and Northumbrian Water have all been accused of a catalogue of failures by Ofwat. And Eluned Morgan has been appointed as the first ever female First Minister of Wales. The Senedd was recalled to vote her in.
This summer, immerse yourself in the world's greatest classical music festival. From the epic Holst and Beethoven to Sam Smith reimagined. And a symphonic Florence and the Machine. The BBC Proms. Watch on iPlayer, listen on BBC Sounds.
The Olympic Games, Paris 2024.
With Kelly Cates.
On BBC Radio 5 Live.
Hello, welcome back to the Stade de France. Cole Hocker, a shock winner in the men's 1500 metres.
Josh Kerr comes onto his shoulder, but look at the American! Look at the American! Cole Hocker's going to upset the party! Josh Kerr says, not on my watch, but he's going to be beaten! Neither Jakob Ingebrigtsen or Josh Kerr are the men's 1500 metres Olympic champion.
We'll bring you the women's 200 metres final, which features Dina Asher-Smith and Daryl Neita.
I've just been trying to keep it as relaxed as possible because it's a lot of adrenaline. A lot's happened in the last 48-ish hours. I know I'm just staying focused on what I need to do.
Elsewhere, Jack Carlin, Ed Lowe and Hamish Turnbull continued Great Britain's medal-winning start at the Olympic Velodrome with team sprint silver. And Sky Brown overcame a shoulder injury to claim skateboarding bronze.
It's going to be bronze for Team GB Sky Brown. 2 Olympics in a row. She's on the podium. It's another Olympic medal for the 16-year-old.
There was disappointment at the diving as Andrea Spendolini-Siriex missed out on a medal in the 10 metres. And Team GB failed to add to their 5 equestrian medals as Germany's Christian Kukuk won gold in the individual jumping final.
This is 5 Live Sport at the Olympic Games.
With Kelly Cates.
On 5 Live and BBC Sounds.
Already this evening, Sophia Smith scored the winning goal for the USA in the women's Olympic football to reach the gold medal match where they will face the winners of Spain against Brazil, and that one is being watched by Maz Faruqi.
And this might be a scoreline that might be a surprise, Kelly. The world champions Spain are behind in the early stages of their semi-final in Marseille to Brazil. It was an own goal that bounced into the back of the net off Olina Paredes, sparking wild celebrations from Brazil, who, remember, are without Marta, who is suspended tonight. Gabby Portillo has just scarred a glorious chance for a second as well for Brazil. Spain all over the place at the moment. But remember, they were trailing until the 97th minute in their quarter-final, and they still came through that match on penalty. So a long way to go now. 11 minutes played, though, in Marseille. Brazil 1, Spain 0.
Maz, thank you very much. And after all the build-up centred around Josh Kerr and Jakob Ingebrigtsen, it was Cole Hocker of the USA who took gold in the men's 1500 metres. Catherine Merry, a surprise or a shock?
Both. 100% both, Kelly. I work every year and have the pleasure of going over to Eugene on their big Diamond League meet, and the mile earlier this year again was centred around, understandably, the Olympic champion at the time, Jakob Ingebrigtsen, and world champion Josh Kerr. And Cole Hocker was in the mile race when those two battled it out, which Josh Kerr won and finished 7th. And then all of a sudden, when it really matters, as Alison said, he's knocked 2-3 seconds off his lifetime best. It's not like it was a tactical race and he's won it, but not with a very good time. He absolutely smashed the Olympic record. Alison's just pointed out, I think that's a US record as well. It was unbelievable. So yeah, I don't know what Andrew thinks, but I'd definitely say shock, stunned, surprised, everything.
With the above.
Nice.
But definitely entertained, for sure.
It was certainly entertaining, not necessarily the result that Josh Kerr wanted. He's been speaking to Sarah Mulkerrins.
Josh, you've been looking at some of the replays. It's Olympic silver, but I'm sensing there's mixed emotions.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, I can't walk away from a championship disappointed. Obviously, I said what my goals were. It was pretty obvious. But I put a performance out there today that I was extremely proud of. I focused on my controllables. I ran the fastest and best tactical 1500 metre I've ever done in my life. And so when you start worrying about what everyone else does from the results, then you'll never be satisfied. And, you know, it's obviously not the colour of medal I want, but it's working towards the right colour, from bronze to silver. And, you know, I just want to thank everyone and part of my team and just family members to get me into position today to go and leave it all out there. And that's what I did today.
Because I could see doing your lap of honour, you were meeting with those people who have supported you and will continue to support you as you go for gold.
Yeah, exactly. I think, you know, I'm 26 years old. This road is not over. I really wanted it today. I told you what I wanted, and obviously I didn't get it. So there's going to be that part of me that's eager and ready for that next one. But I'm really, really proud of the way I executed today. And that's just going to have to be enough for just now. It makes me hungry and ready for more. And I'm just glad I was able to add another tally to the medal count for Team GB today.
And just talk us through the race with Jakob taking it out so hard and fast. Did you expect that?
Yeah, I knew we had to weather a storm early, keep calm and make sure that we're staying emotionally as locked in as we could. And then at 600 to go, I really felt like I had quite a lot left. And then coming off that last bend, obviously got pushed out a little bit. And just had to work hard. I obviously was able to come around him, but there's a lot of running left at that point, and it's so difficult to keep track of what everything's going on in the last 100 or so. But yeah, no, it's the result is what the result is. But super proud of the way I executed today.
And of course, we know the next Olympic Games are in LA. You live there, you train there. You've got your bronze, you've got your silver. How nice would a gold be there?
Yeah, obviously that would be amazing. But you know, I'm securing myself as a medalist every time I come to these championships, bar one in the last 4 years. I've been consistent at this level, and I will get the medal I want when it comes to it at the end of my career. But today wasn't that day, but it's a heck of a step in the right direction, yeah.
Absolutely is. Congratulations on that Olympic silver medal.
Thank you.
That was Josh Kerr reflecting on his silver medal. Mixed emotions, he said at the end of that, because he does come away with a better finish. He does come away with an upgrade on a bronze. Andrew Assaji, a part of those mixed emotions, the fact that the gold didn't go to Jakob Ingebrigtsen, is that something that he might be a little bit happy about?
I think it might be in there somewhere, yeah. I think the big smile is across the line and almost like, what can you do? I've done my best, but at least Jakob didn't win a medal. Probably could have been, definitely an underlying thought. But no, Josh came across really well there. He kind of said all the things that we thought he would be saying about his feelings, that he's done a great job, but that hunger still burns. And when you put yourself into that mental space of wanting to win everything, then you should always be hungry but satisfied as much as you can be.
Catherine, do you think that there will be satisfaction with the improvement, getting the silver medal, a little bit of frustration that it wasn't the gold, mixed in with, as Andrew's saying, the fact that it wasn't Ingebrigtsen who got the gold, so it's not his arch rival.
To quote Andrew on his previous answer, all of the above. 100%. I can't tell you, when one of your biggest rivals doesn't get the medal that you were hoping for, there is a bit inside of you that goes, well, at least it wasn't him that won. And as Andrew said, he didn't even get on the podium. That was a very classy interview with Sarah Mulkerrins, that from Josh Kerr, and he said exactly what he probably is feeling. Of course he's frustrated, but he's ran a national record. He's the fastest Briton now ever of all time, and he has upgraded, as we said after the comms, from bronze to silver, and he's going in the right direction. And I genuinely don't think, therefore, he could have done any more.
I think that's absolutely spot on. You know, when you come away, we've spoken about it this week, you come to a championships to peak at a championships. He's just ran the national record, a British record that has been held by the greats of our country, the greats in middle distance and long distance, you know, in Mo Farah and then back to the golden middle distance era. So I think he's got to reflect on the positives, and rather than look to who also took medals on the podium and who didn't, he's just got, he's so, I don't know, calm this year. You know, he's got a big team around him. Psychologists work with him. And I just think he will go back, reflect on this, and go again. You know, he's an absolute racer. He just loves racing. And I know his job won't be done until he does stand on the top of the podium, because he's had a taste of it at the World Champs, and his time will come without doubt. But I'm happy while we run through this era of Jakob versus Josh versus Cole Hocker versus Yared Nuguse. You know, there was a young kid in there, Laros, you know, 19. There's boys that are now coming up and kind of wanting to be men alongside these guys. So it's just going to keep coming. It really is.
A silver medal then, with a side of frustration for Josh Kerr, but for Jakob Ingebrigtsen, as we've been hearing, not even a podium finish, and he's been speaking to Sarah Mulkerrins.
Was it always your plan to race that 1500 like you did?
My plan was to win. Didn't go according to plan, but I felt very strong the first couple of laps, and that's why I had difficulty, you know, telling the pace, because it was quite fast, but it was difficult to, you know, slow down, and I kind of reduced myself a little bit, and I saw I was starting to get a little bit of gap, so kept on pushing, but it was just 100 meters too long today, so the guys behind me, finishing in front of me, did a great race. It's not always easy to, you know, spend your energy wisely, but I felt strong, and of course not the result I wanted, but yeah.
And those last kind of 200 meters, where were you sensing with how much you could produce to try and get to that line first?
It depends, because a 1500 is the pace is so fast the whole race, and especially with me opening so strong, it's you can't really tell 100% when you're hitting the wall before you hit it, and it was just a little bit too early today.
Appreciate your time.
So it wasn't even a podium finish for Jakob Ingebrigtsen before the race, before the men's 1500 metres. It was all about the rivalry between him and Josh Kerr. He finished with a silver medal for Great Britain. Gold went to Cole Hocker, bronze to Yared Nuguse, also of the United States. And there is great British representation in the form of Lizzie Bird in the women's 3,000 metres steeplechase. Catherine Merry.
Yeah, we're making our way through this women's 3K steeple final, and it is quick. It's an event, of course, that's normally been dominated by the Africans, and at the moment we have a breakaway of 5 athletes as they come past us here on the home straight. Peruth Chepmutai is leading the way, the Ugandan. Beatrice Chepkoech is on her shoulder, the Kenyan World Steeplechase champion back in 2019. And Lizzie Bird is representing in this one, isn't she, Alison Kirbishley? And she's in probably the the third group, I'd say about 40 metres down from the leading pack.
Yeah, and the reason that she's 40 metres down is this leading pack have gone out at such a pace. They've clearly watched Jakob Ingebrigtsen and thought, we'll just go from the gun. And they're operating at really, really quick sub-9 minutes pace, which is just, it's the sort of times that we see on the Diamond League. They've gone out first kilometre 2:56, and that's why it's really, really fragmented this whole field. Lizzie Bird, though, is really gritting her teeth. She was 9th last time round. She will want to better that, and I always said it was going to be tough to try and get in that top 6 with so many strong athletes in here, none more so than the world record holder from Kenya, Chepkoech.
Yeah, Lizzie Bird, as Alison said, was 9th in the last games, and she's currently in 9th position, 7 seconds behind the leaders of this women's 3,000 metre steeplechase. And Chemutai, the Ugandan, as previously mentioned, the defending champion in this event. And also, as Lizzie Bird's going to swing round the back straight, she's going to pass as well Jacob Fincham-Jukes, the British representative in a field final here at the Paris Olympic Games. He's currently in 5th place in this men's long jump final with a best jump of 8 metres and 14. The evergreen Matilides Tentoglu of Greece, he's leading the way with 8 metres and 48. Wayne Pinnock, the Jamaican, the black, green and gold, currently in silver, 12 centimetres behind, just 2 centimetres ahead of Mattia Filani, the Italian. So, field event action, British flags absolutely everywhere, waving as Lizzie Bird goes past, now 7 seconds off the lead. But this, as we know, with the barriers, Alison, and the water jump, our leaders just splashing through the water jump, which will be well received on this warm evening here in the Stade de France. 3-4 metres top separating the top 5 athletes, still led by the Ugandan.
Yeah, it is, and about another sub 3 minute K, which was ticked off again, but there is still this group of 5 just kind of swapping lead, and it's really, really warming up with the Ugandan Chemutai, Peruth Chemutai up against Chepkoech, just swapping the lead each time. And we've got now Yavi from Bahrain now starting to make a move. The French did have hopes for Fino, which is why you can hear the roar in the background, because Alice Fino is trying to move up the field. She's currently in 6th place, but right up front it's Chemutai versus Yavi versus Cheritic and Chepkoech, the world record holder.
Yeah, the real roar is because Fino of France in 6, as Alison said, is cutting back the stagger here. The leading group of 5 has started to fragment. Chemutai is putting the pace down now. The Bahrainian Yavi on her shoulder, and Lizzie Bird is chasing Fino. So Fino's now in 5th place. Lizzie Bird is moving up through, but this is an amazing run here in the women's 3,000 metre steeplechase. Keep an eye on the clock because the battle up front for the gold medal, it's neck and neck. Who's going to cross the line first? It's a 2-athlete battle. Wow, Winfried Yavi of Bahrain, in an Olympic record, has won the women's 3,000 metre steeplechase, and Lizzie Bird crosses the line in about 6th or 7th place. She wound it up wonderfully well. She went into the slipstream of the French athlete who was closing down on the 4th or 5th position. But the camera focuses on the athlete who's literally just collapsed on the track. Yavi is the gold medal winner in an Olympic record. And Lizzie Bird looks like she's potentially finished in 7th place at the Olympics here in Paris, which would be an improvement for the British athlete from 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I think she might have got a personal best as well. It's not been confirmed yet, but I think she will have smashed her own British record as we look at Yavi from Bahrain dancing around on the track just outside her own personal best. 3rd quickest time in the world this year, in the world ever. Yavi of Bahrain really upsetting Cheritic and Chemutai, but certainly Cheritic. Chepkoech came in here as the world record holder and was hoping to take the title, but Yavi had other thoughts, and she's absolutely, look at the smile on her face.
She's delighted. I think someone's just told her that the time that she's ran is one of the quickest times, as you say, Alison, in history. The French are absolutely over the moon. They might have just missed the podium, but that she finished in a very high position, the French athlete, finishing in 4th place with a European record. And well done, Lizzie Bird. Indeed, she was in 7th, a national record of 9:04.35.
Well, we spoke earlier about the wrestling gold medal match. Cuba's Mijan Lopez was taking on Yasmani Fernandez in the men's 130 kilogram final. Lopez was looking to secure his 5th consecutive Olympic gold medal. This is how it finished. Commentary from Katie Smith.
Well, this is an ancient sport that pans back over 2,500 years, an intrinsic part of Olympic history, and yet this modern man, Mijan Lopez Nunes, is the modern icon of the sport. Gold in 2008, in 2012, in 2016, in 2020. He has not fought internationally since then, but he is back for his 6th Olympic Games. He is just over 30 seconds away now from an historic 5th consecutive gold medal. He's up against a man, Yasmani Acosta Fernandez, born in Cuba but had to change his allegiance to Chile just so he had the opportunity to come up against this man. That is how long he has stood at the top of this sport in his country, in the world, on the Olympic stage. He leads by 6-0. There is less than 10 seconds here. The crowd on their feet. The IOC president Thomas Bach is amongst them to celebrate this moment of history. Both arms go up from the 6'5" man in red. Mijan Lopez Nunes of Cuba, now the first athlete in Summer Olympics history to win gold at the same individual event at 5 consecutive Olympic Games.
And Katie Smith joins us now. Katie, after that dramatic end, he said goodbye to the sport. It got quite emotional.
Yeah, so what they do, Kelly, in wrestling, it goes back for years and years and years, this symbolic act of retirement. So they take off the shoes that they are wearing in the match and they place them in the centre of the octagon that they fight in. In Tokyo 3 years ago, this man, who, remember, is turning 42 in 2 weeks' time, everyone expected him to do it in Tokyo after his 4th gold, but he didn't. He went away. He hasn't fought. His father died, so that delayed his return to the ring. But here he is back, a 5th historic gold in a row, and this time in front of the crowds, and there were loads of Cuban fans here in Paris. He took off his shoes, so that is the end of a remarkable career for Mijan Lopez Nunes, and he said, I will retire because I need to make space for those who are coming into the sport. Wrestling for me, though, has been the love of my life for all of my life, and he's a 5-time gold medalist champion.
Katie Smith, thank you very much. There is build-up to the women's 200 metres final very shortly. And in around 30 minutes' time, we'll bring you commentary of light middleweight Lewis Richardson's fight against Mexican second seed Marco Verde. Richardson has already secured at least bronze for Team GB, but a win tonight would mean a place in the gold medal match. Jonathan Overend and Steve Bunce are going to be watching this one for us. The boxing has moved to Roland Garros. Now, Overs, obviously you've been there because you've been out watching the tennis. Buncey, first trip to the glamour of Roland Garros for the boxing. Bonnet to douche, Buncey.
Let me tell you, okay, you know, I called it the posh place, the posh tennis place when I was a bit excited last week. Well, of course, the first thing I did was I went the wrong way. I walked 2.5 kilometres the wrong way. I walked through the most exotic, glorious gardens. I must have been past 50 bistros, okay? I finally got in, came upstairs, 5th floor. There's a Sherpa guide downstairs, helped me get to the top. And no, trust me, they give me 2 oxygen tanks, and I'm now looking out from the top row. I'm going to say this now, and this is absolutely the truth. I'm not joking, Kelly. This is the truth. This is the finest indoor arena for boxing that I've ever been in.
Wow.
The MGM, Madison Square Garden, the O2, MEN, whatever. None of them are as good and as compact as this. This is the greatest 15,000 seat boxing arena on the planet. And I'm here for the Olympic semi-finals and finals. Would somebody hit me over the head with something, because I can't believe my luck.
It's going to be interesting to see how it affects some of the fighters, isn't it? Because they could react in different ways to this.
Well, that's really interesting. It's a really good point you make, because generally when you box in a major tournament, the Commonwealth Games, you get a couple of thousand. At the European Amateur Championships or the World Championship or the Olympic qualifiers, sometimes you're competing in about 200 people, and all of those are former boxers. There's no crowds at all. They almost don't print tickets. So for some of the boxers, they'll be a bit. They won't be sure what's going on. Whereas the GB boxers will, because they're forever at big fights. So suddenly, if you're a boxer from China, you're walking out here today. There's 14,648 more people out there cheering than you've ever walked out in front of. Now, if for instance, and I'm talking about Kelly Harrington here, in this arena tonight, there will somehow be 16,000 Irish. I know it's only a 15,000 capacity. Bear with me. This is the way the Irish work. There will be 15,000 Irish people in here tonight waving their flags. Now, the opponent for Kelly Harrington is going to walk out and she's going to look up and she will be gulping. I guarantee you that.
It's going to be absolutely fantastic to see the boxing in front of this fantastic crowd in this incredible arena. Yeah. But they have to do it when they get into the ring, Overs. And Lewis Richardson has spoken to Buncey throughout these games and sounded so confident. After the quarterfinals, he was like, yep, I can win gold. Not I can win a medal, I can win gold. So with all that confidence, what chance has he got?
Well, it's going to be hard, because on paper, the three other fighters left in his division are all tougher. You would say, looking at the records, they're possibly better than he is. But this is the Olympic Games. He's come through two marginal decisions to get to this stage, and who's to say he can't do it again? That fight coming up, the second fight on the schedule this evening. The first is about to get underway. And can I just echo what Buncey's saying? This is unbelievable in here tonight. I mean, it's these amateur boxers are stepping out. They must feel like they're walking out into Wembley Stadium. It is Court Philippe Chatrier, where we saw that brilliant Djokovic-Alcaraz match only 48 hours ago. They've turned it around. It's now an indoor boxing arena with the roof over, and everywhere you go around the grounds, there are Irish supporters for Kelly Harrington. And there are loads of Algerians as well. For Iman Khalif will bring her fight as well later on in the evening. This is a big night for boxing, arriving at a venue like this.
Jonathan Overend and Steve Bunce at Roland Garros for the boxing. It might look magnificent. I know it's going to sound magnificent with you two. We'll be back with you very shortly to bring us all the best of the action. Here at the Stade de France, we are in for a thrilling race to crown the fastest woman in the world over 200 metres. There will definitely be a new champion for the first time in 8 years. Reigning champion Elaine Thompson-Herah does not feature. We'll focus on British interest as we get a bit closer to the start of the race itself. But Gabby Thomas of Team USA, one of the hot favourites for gold, and she did go against Dina Asher-Smith in qualifying for the final. And there was just a little bit of tension, Alison Kirbishley, as they crossed the finish line. We're not quite sure what went on. Neither of them have said anything about it. Well, look, what definitely happened was that Gabby Thompson said something to Dina Asher-Smith, and then Dina Asher-Smith either said, shut up, or good job. That's what the lip readers have been saying on social media. They both have very different connotations. It was all very low-key, but something clearly went on. And they're just these little stories that bubble away underneath that make it that little bit more interesting.
We caught up with Jazz Sawyers, obviously our British long jumper, and she's out here, sadly not in the team, but working with our TV colleagues, and she's a very good friend of Dina's. And we asked her, didn't we, Kath? And we were like, yeah, what did you think? And she was the same. She'd seen Dina say something. She wasn't happy, and definitely I don't think I've ever seen her so angry and go through mixed zone and not want to speak, because maybe she just wanted to do what Matt Hudson-Smith did earlier. I'm in the zone, I've qualified, I don't want to have to articulate how I'm feeling. I'll speak after the final. I think both of them, Dina and Daryl, know that there is a medal. This is an opportunity to be seized tonight. Kath called it earlier on at lunchtime. We were chatting about this race, and we looked at the draw. Gabby Thomas in 7, Julian Alfred, the reigning champion over 100 metres, in 8. throw in favour of Philly there on the outside, the Nigerian. She could be the outside bet, but those two battling for gold. And then you've got Dina Asher-Smith in 4 and Daryl Nita in 5, could be battling for a minor medal. But look, from what I've seen tonight, what do I know? Cole Hocker's just caused a shocker, so I mean, like,
Cole Hocker with a shocker. There's our headline for the night.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's sort of, you don't know what's going on right now. I'm watching Daryl come out of the blocks. They're setting their blocks up. I don't know who right now is thinking in their head, I'm moments away from being an Olympic champion.
We'll run the rule over some of the contenders in just a second. The long jump result is in, Catherine Merry.
It is, and I mentioned previously that Jacob Fincham-Dukes, the British representative in this men's long jump final, was 5th. And it looks like he's finished in 5th. Well done to Jacob. That's a top 5 finish. That's really good going. 8 metres and 14 from the British athlete. But once again, Miltiadis Tentoglou, this Greek athlete, he is so evergreen. He won the gold medal again here at the Olympics, 8 metres and 48. We're seeing shots of him on the screen looking for a Greek flag. Anybody got a Greek flag? Anybody? Waden Pinnock for Jamaica got the silver, 8 metres and 36, and young Mattia Falani from Italy picked up the bronze. But yeah, 5th in the long jump final for the British athlete.
Oh, hello. We know we've got a sprint race. The DJ is back in the house here at Stade de France, and he's building up the atmosphere ahead of the women's 200 metres final. Look, there is so much competition, as you say, across this field. We talked a little bit about Gabby Thomas, one of the favourites for gold, who looked very comfortable in the heats and the semi-final. She was the fastest runner in both of them. The newly crowned fastest woman in the world has taken the 100 metres title, Julian Alfred. We can't count her out of the 200 metres as well. This is her speaking after her 100-metre final win, where she became the first ever Olympic medalist for St. Lucia.
It feels amazing right now. I'm going through the emotions right now. Still haven't really, it hasn't sunk in as yet.
And you pulled off a superb race, a national record, and you pulled clear.
Yeah, I did. I actually just go out there and trust myself, trust my coach, and most importantly, trust God.
What do you think the celebrations will be like right now back in St. Lucia?
I'm sure they're having a time. Playing music, celebrating, drinking beer, I don't know.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Julian Alfred looking to add the 200 metres crown to her 100 metres. It would be huge for St. Lucia. We all saw the celebrations after she won the 100 metres final in St. Lucia. And here inside the Stade de France, they've got their wristbands back. They light up wristbands. They're glowing purple at the moment to match the track, to match the theme of this Olympics. But we know that when the athletes are announced, they will glow in the colours of their national flags, and this is something that is really very, very special. But there could be a real battle here between Gabby Thomas, between Julian Alfred, Alison, as they come out for these ones. But we'll come back definitely to Daryl Nita and to Dina Asher-Smith when they're introduced. But first of all, these two on Julian Alfred and Gabby Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, look, you look at head-to-heads, and right now Gabby Thomas has the edge on Julian Alfred, 2-1 in their clashes over this distance. If anyone has been watching the Netflix Sprint documentary, Gabby Thomas features quite heavily in that. She's not an outspoken, brash sort of athlete, so you don't see a lot of trash talk from Gabby Thomas. She's a beautiful looking runner. Julian Alfred is very new to the scene. She's only 23, training partner of Dina Asher-Smith, based in Texas. But look, she's the 100-metre champion, and she will want to do the double. The last time it was done, last time round, Elaine Thompson-Herah from Jamaica has done it twice. She did the double-double in Rio and in Tokyo. Can Julian Alfred do it tonight?
And the two British athletes competing in this 200 metres final, Daryl Nita and Dina Asher-Smith, coming out next as the stadium sparkles red, white and blue.
The lights are flashing. Daryl Nita, with a bottle of water in her right hand, gives the British fans here in the Stade de France a wave. She's talking to herself as she walks towards lane number 5 of this women's 200 metre final. Out of the tunnel next at the 200 metre start, a little blow of a kiss. Bisou from Dina Asher-Smith, the fastest British woman of all time, starts in lane number 4. As Alison mentioned, the last time two British women were in a final like this was a long time ago, back in 1980. But looking even more relaxed than our two British finalists, Gabby Thomas, the world leader, qualified fastest for this final with 21.86 seconds. She'll line up in lane number 7. She took bronze in Tokyo 3 years ago. She won world silver over this distance last year. A Harvard University graduate. The smart lady starts in lane number 7, and Julian Alfred, the women's 100-metre Olympic champion, has her fans in the stand here waving the St. Lucian flags. Could she do a sprint double here? The final of the women's 200 metres, Mackenzie Long, the world number 2, starts in 2. Gabby of Ivory Coast in 3. Dina Asher-Smith in 4. Nita of Britain in 5. Brittany Brown, the world number 4, in 6. Gabby Thomas, the world leader, in 7. Julian Alfred, the 100-metre champion, the world number 3, in 8. And keep an eye on Favour Ofili of Nigeria in 9. Nigeria have only ever won 1 medal in this distance. It could be a battle with her and the Brits for a bronze medal. But we've had drama, we've had shocks tonight in the men's 1500 metres. What has the women's 200-metre final got? The camera has swept across the line. Cheers for every single athlete on both of these screens. The final event on a brilliant night of track and field here in the Stade de France is the women's 200-metre final. Can a British athlete become only the 3rd ever medalist in this event in history? They settle into their blocks. The camera focusing on Brittany Brown, the American, in 6. And now on the 100-metre champion, looking for the double, Julian Alfred in 8. Alfred takes one final look at the bend ahead of her. Silence across the Stade de France. Well, it's a clean start and it's a pretty even start as well. Alfred out well in lane number 8. That's expected from the 100-metre champion. Thomas, though, on her inside is chasing her. The British athletes moving well. Dina Asher-Smith in about 4th place as they come into the home straight. But Gabby Thomas is turning on the afterburners. The American has a 1-metre lead. The American's going to take the title. It's going to be close in the bronze medal position. It was a dip finish between the two British athletes, but I think they were down in at least 4th or 5th place. But Gabby Thomas is the Olympic champion in the women's 200 metres. The 6th gold medal, the 7th gold medal for the US in this event, and the first gold since Alison Felix in 2012. Let's see where the British athletes come. Daryl Nita looking up at the big screen. Dina Asher-Smith is 4th in 22.22 seconds. Daryl Nita is 5th in 22.23. Gabby Thomas is your Olympic champion. She is crying. She cannot believe it. 21.83 seconds. Julian Alfred picks up a silver after her gold in the 100. She's smiling. She seems happy. And Brittany Brown of the USA, bronze in 22.20. I don't think Dina Asher-Smith, Alison Kirbishley, as she takes her spikes off, it's that 4th place, the same as Daryl Nita in the 100 metres. But what a comeback from the British athlete after the semi-final exit, and what a run from both her and Daryl Nita, finishing in 4th and 5th in that final.
But what could have been? She'll look at those times, she'll look at the way she ran it and go and scratch her head and think, was that an opportunity missed? I mean, you're right, she came back. She had to find something mentally, because she was not right after the 100. She was really angry with herself, and she ran angry in that first round. She ran angry, but she ran quicker. And Dina Asher-Smith, 22.22. If you'd have told her that bronze medal only needed to be 22.20, she'd have absolutely thought, I'm on the podium, I can do that, that's well within my compass. In the same way that Daryl Nita would have said the same, but they just tied up. She ran a beautiful bend again. She had Daryl Nita outside her to draw on, and we're just looking at the replay. Brittany Brown reacted and got out outside of Daryl Nita, the American who eventually got the bronze. But coming into the home straight, there was a real opportunity, but it was the last 50. There's the bell. Ding ding for Gabby Thomas. I mean, at least the favourites come and delivered here, because that was a beautiful display of 200 metre running from Gabby Thomas.
Alison's right. If you look at the lifetime best of our British athletes, you say, well, will they be disappointed? Because Dina Asher-Smith's British record is 21.88 seconds, but her season's best was 22.18. She's only run 4 100ths of a second slower than a season's best. And Daryl Neita has only just missed her lifetime best by less than 1/10 of a second. It was an opportunity. We said there was a bronze up for grabs. But once again, USA have got gold and bronze, just like they did in a certain men's 1500 metres as well. The USA Stars and Stripes are racking up the medals here tonight.
Definitely Stars and Stripes night.
They are going to be moving up the medal board, the USA. They're having that athlete's moment, and where Julian Alfred is able to go over to the video screens at the side of the track here in the Stade de France and talk to family members back in St. Lucia, where she returns with a gold medal and a silver medal. And it's a really beautiful thing that they're doing for the athletes here, allowing them to speak to people at home.
I love this. I mean, obviously they first did it in COVID, the COVID Olympics, because people didn't have their families there. But I'm so glad they've kept it on, because, you know, we think that all the families can travel here. And for the likes of an athlete from St. Lucia, you know, they can't. And it's just wonderful for them in their best moment ever. And there's Gabby Thomas, as we look down, it's the other extreme, because she clearly has her family with her. And she's absolutely wrapped in the stars and the Star-Spangled Banner there, the Stars and Stripes, and she's hugging all of her family. And it's our favourite song on in the background.
It is absolutely majestic from Gabby Thomas, who takes the gold medal in the women's 200 metres. Silver to Julian Alfred, bronze to Brittany Brown. It's 4th for Dina Asher-Smith, 5th for Daryl Neita. Andrew Assaji is also watching. Andrew, thoughts on the performance of the two British women in that race?
I think really strong. I think especially from Dina there to come back from what she was clearly a low point in her career in terms of being really disappointed and having the potential probably to do better than she did in terms of performance in the 100. I think for her to come back and perform really well here is great, and so close to the medal. And I think Daryl's had a great champ. She's been really consistent over the last 3 or 4 years and on an upward trajectory. She's finishing higher up in every single race that she's been in. If you look at the last Olympics and World Championships and now this one, and it all bodes well for the relay, where we've got a really strong team of kind of established female sprinters now. So I think a good performance, but I do think it's a bit of an opportunity miss, especially when you look at the times versus personal best and even season's best this year from both of them.
Andrew, we're always setting these two women up in competition with each other, Dina Asher-Smith and Daryl Neita. Where do you think that, and you know, in elite sports sometimes there is only room for one, there isn't room for two. Do you think we need to reassess the distance between them, with Daryl Neita's 4th in the 100 metres, 5th in the 200 metres, and not that far behind Dina Asher-Smith?
Yeah, I think on their day they're as good as each other. Back in the national championships, I think 2 years ago, right? Daryl broke through, and that was the first time she beat Dina in a head-to-head, and then since then they've been swapping paths back and forth. But I mean, two great athletes, and yeah, it's great for our team to have two available to do well whenever we need them to do well.
Andrew, thank you very much. For now, we will have more reaction to that 200 metres final and to Gabby Thomas claiming gold just after 9 o'clock. We're going to head to Roland Garros now. It's the venue for the boxing. Light middleweight Lewis Richardson's already secured at least a bronze for Team GB. But if he wins against Mexican second seed Marco Verdi, it would seal his spot in the gold medal match. Steve Bunt is alongside Jonathan Overend.
Good evening, Kelly. Welcome inside court. Philippe Chatrier. Everybody again. Last time we were here, it was for Djokovic and Alcaraz. Now we are back for Richardson against Verde on a star-studded evening of boxing. One of the more curious sporting venue transitions I think has ever happened. We've moved from like an industrial warehouse next to an IKEA about by the airport into one of the most famous sporting arenas in the world. And for these amateur boxers, what a thing to step out, as Colchester's Lewis Richardson has just done, to be greeted by this noise. 15,000 people. I was a little worried, Bunty, I have to say, when they announced this as the venue for the finals. I was thinking, how are they going to shift that number of tickets every night? Well, it's pretty full.
But they just about went. Okay, I was going to let you know now straight away. Let's clear the air. You are allowed 3 massive Roland Garros gloats. That's number 1. You get 2 more before we finish on air. You get 3 per night. You understand? You're a sensible man and you know your mathematics. This venue, I'll say it again, I said it earlier on to Kelly, this might just be the best indoor venue for 15,000 people that I've ever been in. And on the subject of walking out in front of 15,000 for people that sometimes fight in front of just 200 or 300, the GB boxers will be used to that because they go to big fights in the UK. And as will, in all fairness, Verde Alvarez. But the Chinese boxers or the Uzbeks or the Kazakhs, they won't. So if there's an intimidating atmosphere, it can help.
All right, the Mexican Marco Alonso Verde Alvarez, to give him his full name, 22 years of age. He is the number 2 seed. He edged his first fight 3-2, but then a breeze through his second. Richardson has needed split 3-2 decisions to win both of his fights. He's guaranteed a medal, Lewis Richardson, by reaching this stage. But why stop at bronze? He wants to win this and make it through to Friday's gold medal match if he possibly can. He first fought as a 13-year-old in Billericay in Essex in 2010. What a journey to arrive on this stage on this night. Richardson is in red. Verde, his nickname, simply is Green. Yes, you got it.
It's a good nickname, that, isn't it? No, seriously.
Marco Green he's known as.
Marco Green.
So Verde it is. Gold at the Pan American Games last year in Santiago, despite being knocked down in the opening round of the final. The bell goes and we're underway. 3 3-minute rounds. Richardson in red, Verde in blue. Slightly disappointingly, but that's the way it always goes. Nice combination from Verde, who's a slick operator. He's technical, as all the Mexicans are, of course, and this is going to be so tough for Lewis Richardson. Can he start strongly? Can he start securely? Can he land some blows in the opening round to send a message to the Mexican, who scored with an uppercut, fighting out of the southpaw stance, both of these men. That means leading with the right hand with the jab, and then the more attacking shots coming with the left hand. Richardson just eyeing up his opponent, centre ring at the moment, leaning forward with the jab, but already in the first 30 seconds, Verde did score with several telling blows. He's gone with that uppercut once more, a response from Richardson with a left cross, and then he pierces the gloves with the right hand as Richardson, approaching the minute mark in this first round. It's overawing in some respects this occasion, Steve, but Richardson standing tall just needs to make a mark.
And you need to make sure you don't panic in the opening round. You don't overcompensate if you're caught with a shot. No need to panic. No need to instantly go back. And he'll understand that, Lewis. And in fact, I've got to tell you, I think Verde Alvarez is a little bit more circumspect, a little bit more respectful than I've seen him in his previous 2 fights, where he's bent his knees and entered into a willing and happy slugfest. This is suiting Lewis. Bit of distance. He'll use his educated jab and drop in the left hands.
Yeah, he's pushing through with that right jab successfully. Richardson gets caught by a right hand on the counter, but it's a high quality fight so far. Good left hand from Richardson, then a left in response from Verde, who gets caught by another Richardson left hand, and a couple of excellent blows from the Essex man there, who really seems to be relaxing into the fight. 1 minute 15 seconds remaining of the opening round. 5 judges sitting at ringside will score this fight immediately at the end of each round using the 10-point scoring system that you'll be familiar with in professional boxing. Counter from Verde, the man in blue, slightly shorter. He is 5'11". Richardson is 6'2". But he gets caught on the inside. Richardson, big right hand from Verde, and that definitely got through. And Richardson needs to keep those red gloves up high to protect himself at all times, because Verde looks in the mood to finish this round strongly. But a nice straight hand from Richardson. That scores. So does a left hand, with 40 seconds remaining in the first round.
These are big clean shots that Lewis is scoring with. He's measuring Verde beautifully with that straight left hand. Verde looks like he's having a bit more success, but I've got to tell you, I think Lewis might be blocking some of those. The judges will have a better view than us, but the piercing jab from Richardson and dropping that left hand in, it's another tight round. These two here have fought, I think, 5 times or 4 times. Every single round they fought has been competitive and mildly close.
15 seconds remaining in the opening round. It could be all about who impresses the judges in this final sequence of blows, because the scores will be in a few moments' time. An uppercut from Verde, who might feel like he's done more than enough to win this round, but it's a casual looking Richardson who leans forward with the jab in the final seconds. Has he got one more blow in him? No, he leans away, and they touch gloves at the end of the opening round. Richardson lifts his left glove just a little high, and he has won that round, Richardson, on 3 of the scorecards.
No, two of the scorecards. It's
3-2 in Verde's favour.
And you know what? That's understandable. That's what that round was. It was a 3-2. If anyone had got that 5-0, I would have been unhappy. It was a classic 3-2 round. Verde had a bit of success in about 3 little series, 20-second sections. Verde had success. I thought Richardson's jab and straight left hands were working perfectly and were working.
That has to be a good win for Richardson, doesn't it? Because there were some who were feeling he might be outclassed out here tonight.
And the big thing was, people were quite worried about Richardson isn't the fastest of starters. He's not a slow starter, he's not the fastest starter. Whereas Verde Alvarez is a fast starter. That's his thing. He loves that first round that puts you under pressure. There's no panic. There's no panic at all, Jonathan.
So Richardson has won that opening round on the Chinese Taipei and Indonesian judges' scorecards. So he could do with them following him again here in round 2 and then pinching one of the others in the second round. Underway in the second round then, inside court, Philippe Chatrier at Roland Garros in an incredible atmosphere. Kelly Harrington to come later, going for gold for Ireland. Double Olympic gold. It's never been done before by an Irish woman or an Irish boxer. Here is Richardson leaning forward with the right jab once more. In red, leaning into the right hand is the fellow southpaw, Marco Verde of Mexico. I mean, what a thing, fighting the Mexican for a guaranteed Olympic silver medal. He knows he's got bronze, Richardson. He might have just got caught by a left hand on the inside there, but Verde also took a blow, so much so he's leaning down and has to be separated from a clinch. Nice jab from Richardson. He's keeping his distance well, and Verde gets caught as he tries to come in on the inside. That was a good shot from Richardson, and he picks off his man again, first with the left and then with the right. Couple of excellent blows from Richardson there in the first minute of the second round.
And you saw Verde clinching there and looking at his corner and giving a shrug as if to say, don't worry, don't panic. Those were really perfect counters. He's putting a lot into those left cross counters. He's not throwing them to touch, he's throwing them to her. This is now going to get attritional as we come into, nearly 90 seconds left.
Well, it's classy from Richardson, isn't he? He's not throwing as many punches as his energetic opponent, but the blows he is throwing are accurate and they're telling, and he gets through with another right hand as Richardson, and then a nice little jabbing left to the side of the head from Verde, who's definitely feeling the power of Richardson's shots. Richardson has been marked beneath the left eye, and it's an obvious mark there. Doesn't look as if it's impeding him too much, doesn't appear to be too much blood flow as such, but a sign that Verde definitely got through. Lovely left uppercut from Richardson, who's done some fine work in this round. There's still a minute remaining of it, though.
There's a minute remaining of it, and I tell you what I don't like the body language from Verde Alvarez. He's looking up at the clock, he's looking down at his corner, he's being picked off here and he's being countered by Richardson. It looks like Verde's having the success throwing the punches. I think Richardson's, look at that, beautiful manoeuvre, ducked underneath a shot, came back with a couple of sharp jabs. This is a bit of quality we're watching here, Overs.
Lewis Richardson from Colchester, again a straight right hand, and it really breaches the defensive. When Verde comes forward, he's throwing almost indiscriminately, and defence is not particularly on his mind, and Richardson is getting straight through the middle on a number of occasions. 30 seconds remaining in the second round. It's going to be tight, but our perhaps biased viewpoint maybe has Richardson winning this round. If he can win it on the two judges who gave him the first, then he's halfway potentially towards the final. 15 seconds remaining, but it is going to be tight from here. It will undoubtedly come down to the final round. Big left hand from Richardson, finishing the round well, just gets caught on the inside by a right hand, and he has to keep those gloves up high. Richardson has to keep those defences because he's done so well in this round, and the bell goes, and again he punches the air with his left hand. Richardson, we look at the judges' scores for that one, and he has won it on 4 of the 5 judges' scorecards. This is great news for Richardson. He leads, he has a 2-round lead on 2 of the judges' scorecards. Verde has a 2-round lead on 1 of the judges' scorecards. The other 2 have it level. It's all to play for into the final round.
So basically, what we have here is a fight that's just about as poised as it could possibly be. One judge scoring one of these rounds can change the course of either of their histories, change the course of not just their Olympic boxing journey, but for wherever they might go afterwards. We are tight here. It's going to be tight at the end, no matter what happens. I'm thinking, I like the way Richardson was measuring that round. I think we're going to see a repeat, Jonathan. I really do.
Well, you can get 10-8 rounds scored, 10-7 rounds indeed as well, but they are very, very rare. So on the basis that there should be another 10-9 round, you feel that Richardson, the worst that can happen here is he loses it 3-2. It's the two judges who have it level after 2 rounds that Richardson needs to impress in this final 3-minute stanza of the contest, and it's underway here inside Court Philippe Chatrier. 15,000 watching on. Big start from Verde, flying out that right hand once more, but we saw it in the last round. He throws a lot, he doesn't always connect, and it's Richardson who's the more accurate with picking off through that jab, that right hand jab from the southpaw stance. He does it again there. Richardson sensing what a wonderful opportunity this could be. First 30 seconds have elapsed of the final round. He's 2.5 minutes away from the Olympic final. Can he finish off his man? Verde looks a little worried here. He's open-mouthed, he's breathing heavily. He pushes through with the right jab once again, Verde, but Richardson brushes it off with the gloves, and then he stings with that right hand, Richardson, through the centre. It's an excellent start to the final round.
Those were good shots. Richardson there measured a body shot. He set them another body shot. He's just got to keep the game. What he needs to make sure he doesn't do, Overs, is get greedy. Don't go looking for a finish, look for the win. Simple.
And don't get a point deducted either. He's just had a soft warning from the referee in the ring there. If he does get a point deduction, then the whole complex of the scoring of this changes, as it would do on any tight bout. 1 minute 45 remaining in the third round. Reminder, it's a semi-final in the men's 71 kilo division. Again, good work from Lewis Richardson as we look down from our high position, almost on top of the boxing ring down there, which would be on the centre of the clay court where Djokovic won 2 days ago. Into the final minute and a half of the fight. Richardson gets caught by a left hand, and maybe a little weary there, Lewis, as he leant into a combination after it. He felt the force of that from Verde. Verde could easily win this if he wins it on the scorecards of judges 1, 4 and 5. The two who have it level, they are the really key adjudicators at the end of this. We're approaching the final minute, Steve. This is where it gets nervy.
60 seconds to make or break your Olympic career. There's nothing else he could have done. He just needs to make sure he doesn't panic, doesn't get involved, and just keeps his hands doing what he normally does. Jab, jab, let the left cross go. It's basic stuff. Just be simple. Keep it simple, Lewis.
50 seconds, down to 45. The man from Colchester in Essex. Once again, it's that right jab which scores for Richardson. That's been the shot of the fight from the British man, all in red, supported by his teammates. 30 seconds remaining. Can he do it? Can he get over the line? Can he sway the judges? He needs a big finish to be sure. Verde really tiring, and his eyes look up to the sky where he sees the roof above the ring here. Richardson 20 seconds away. Big finish, Lewis, big finish. 15 seconds remaining. Goes for left-handers, Richardson, but it doesn't connect. He's swaying this way and that. He's looking confident. He looks like he thinks he's done enough. He catches Verde with a right hand straight through the middle. Verde's got nothing left in response. The bell goes, and Lewis Richardson, we believe, has made the Olympic final.
I'm convinced he's made the Olympic final. Verde had nothing left in that last minute, absolutely nothing left. He was holding on. He was looking at the clock. He was looking at his corner. He was doing everything but throwing punches. I'm convinced that Lewis Richardson has won that third and final round. Sure, he's got a mark under his left eye. Picked it up in his second fight, and it's just started to bleed. We call it a mouse. That's no problem. That can be addressed with a little bit of ice. Don't worry about that. I thought he'd done more than enough in that round to win the contest and get a place in the final. Think how despairing it was just 10 days ago. Now we have a man, I think, a few seconds away from being in the final.
He was the final one of 6 from the Team GB boxing team to step out and fight, and how he has delivered. Has he won this semi-final? It won't be unanimous because Judge 4 had it to Verde 2-0 going into that final round. So it will be 4-1 at best. It could be 3-2, but we must throw caution. It could be defeat. Verde could pinch this. Richardson in red. That's what you're listening out for. Who's got the decision?
Victorieux au point par décision partagée et combattra pour la médaille d'or en finale du tournoi olympique de boxe. In blue,
it's gone against Richardson. Verde Alvarez has won it. And those two judges who had it level after 2 rounds both gave that final round to the man from Mexico, which is astonishing, really. In fact, he got that last round, Steve, on all 5 judges' scorecards.
Well, I find that actually quite amazing. I find that quite. I thought Lewis had done enough in that last round to win, but to lose on all 5, to make that the only round of the fight, that one of the boxers won all 5 rounds, I'm actually amazed. He had nothing left dirty in the last 60 seconds. Lewis was dominated. He was enjoying himself. He was avoiding shots. He picked him off. He landed. He held and grabbed as often as he possibly could. I'm a bit disappointed. It wasn't. Let's point something out, Overs. It wasn't a robbery. But I do believe that Lewis Richardson was harshly treated there, and he could and should be walking his way past that row of interviews and on his way to Friday's final.
Well, it's another heartbreaker for the British boxing team. So near and yet so far as Lewis Richardson loses his semi-final 3-2. A split decision, as close as it gets, and Verde Alvarez from Mexico scrapes through to the men's light middleweight final.
Bunty, are you still there, or has he gone over
No,
off today? You are still. I know you said it wasn't a robbery. It was just maybe a surprise decision, and certainly one that took you by surprise. But that's not going to allay the fears of British boxing fans who've watched some of the decisions in these Olympic Games. There was one that was extremely controversial, and the rest of them you described as kind of maybe not quite 50-50 decisions, but decisions that could have gone either way and that have gone against the Brits. This is just going to add fuel to that argument that the Brits have been badly treated, isn't it?
You know what? 5 of our boxers went out on 3-2 splits, and all 5 of those could have won. And when you look at the raw facts and stats like that, that can lead to people jumping to all sorts of conclusions, and obviously, slight and gentle hysteria. I thought Lewis could have undoubtedly got that decision. The bad decision you're talking about was what seems like a couple of weeks ago now, Kelly, was a woman called Rosie Eccles. That was one of the worst decisions I've seen. The other losers in the 3-2s have been close, tight. I thought Lewis did enough there, but it was not what I would call a controversy or a robbery or anything like that. But I did think he won that last round. And you're absolutely right. We need to be sometimes sensible, and I think I've talked to you, and I've talked to Chappers, and I've talked to Tony and Ellie on different shows during this last 10 days, and said because we had such great success in London and Rio and Tokyo, it's not God-given. You don't arrive here and suddenly pick up 4, 5 and 6 medals. It's a really hard process. 2,115 contests to get the 270 or 49 boxers that were here. Over 2,000 boxers tried in 7 global tournaments during a 13-month period to be one of the 249. This is one of the, and I would say this, people who roll their eyes, this is one of the hardest sports to qualify for. Yeah. And once you get here, it's savage, it's brutal, it's lethal, and sometimes it can be heartbreaking.
And he leaves with the bronze medal, Kelly. Let's confirm that the losing semi-finalists do win bronze medals, and we congratulate him for that. But he'll feel like he did enough in that final round. He was getting through with that jab. He really was rocking Verde. He was tiring him as well. The judges must have seen something up close about the work of the Mexican. I think Lewis will be bitterly disappointed with that decision.
Jonathan Overend and Steve Bunce at Roland Garros, thank you very much for now, but I know we'll be back with you later on as Kelly Harrington of Ireland goes up against Wen Lu Yang, and they'll bring you coverage of everything that happens up to then, and of course they'll bring you coverage of that fight as well a little bit later on. Meanwhile, full time for Rangers. They're up against Dynamo Kiev in Lublin in Poland. Gavin Wallace is watching.
Yep, it finishes Dynamo Kiev 1, Rangers 1. Andrei Yarmolenko managed to put the home side ahead on 38 minutes. Rangers punished for some poor defending from a counter-attack as Ridvan Yilmaz was caught on the halfway line. That allowed the Ukrainians to head through and then put a lovely low cross in, and Yarmolenko tapped home. And then right at the death, some late drama in this to keep it alive for Rangers. Cyril Dessers, who had a couple of really good chances earlier on in the game, he slotted home from from 2 yards. He was untracked. Vaclav Cherny, who's just come on maybe 10-15 minutes before, flipped in a lovely ball. Dessers untracked the line to the box and tapped it home to send the Rangers fans home and into next week with still half a chance. Dynamo Kyiv 1, Rangers 1.
Gavin, thank you very much for that. In Olympics football, the women's semi-final between Brazil and Spain currently underway for a chance to play USA in the final. Maz Farouki's watching.
Well, how's this for a scoreline? Gabby Portillo scoring a second for Brazil in first half stoppage time to make it Brazil 2. The world champion Spain 0 in this second semi-final. The first goal, remember, an early Arlena Paredes' own goal. Great support for Brazil in the stands as well in this match in Marseille. Supporting green and yellow, holding up a sign that reads Caipirinha is better than sangria. And at the moment, it's certainly looking that way. We've got a shot on the cards. Brazil 2, Spain 0. 50 minutes played now in the second semi-final.
Maz, thank you very much for that. I'm just going to take a few minutes now to decide whether or not a caipirinha is better than a sangria, but I think what I'm going to have to do is take a bit of time tonight to have both and then really properly consider it in the interest of impartiality. Thank you very much to Maz. We're going to be rounding up a day of drama at the Olympics after the BBC News with Nick Hatfield.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Sir Keir Starmer says those involved in riots across parts of England and Northern Ireland can expect to be dealt with by the courts within a week. The Prime Minister was speaking after holding a second Cobra meeting to coordinate the continued response to the unrest. It's believed a teenager from Bolton has become the first person to be given a jail sentence for his part in the disruption. All of the children injured in a knife attack in Southport who were treated at Alder Hay Hospital have now been discharged. 3 girls were killed at a holiday club last week. 10 people, including 2 adults, were seriously injured. Kamala Harris is to speak at a rally in Philadelphia where she'll officially introduce the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, as her running mate for November's presidential election. Mr. Walz is a former teacher and military veteran who Democrats hope will appeal to rural, working-class voters. And a Polish man accused of punching Denmark's Prime Minister has gone on trial in Copenhagen. The 39-year-old, who can't be named because of reporting restrictions, has pleaded not guilty to the alleged assault in June. Mette Frederiksen suffered a minor injury.
5 Live Breakfast
with Rachel Burden and Rick Edwards.
Keely Hodgkinson runs the 800 metres in an average of just over 14 seconds per 100 metres. And to try and understand how fast that is, there's no better way than to try it myself. How did I do? 17.2 seconds.
Spare a thought for the people who've just turned their radio on and just heard you breathing heavily.
5 Live Breakfast.
Listen weekdays from 6 on BBC Sounds.
The Olympic Games, Paris 2024.
With Kelly Cates.
From BBC Radio 5 Live.
Hello, welcome back to the Stade de France. All calm now, but what a night it's been. A night of drama that only the Olympic Games can provide. The men's 1500 metres final was all teed up to be a battle between Team GB's Josh Kerr and Norway's Jakob Ingebrigtsen. But in a shock result, the American Cole Hocker claimed gold.
Ingebrigtsen leads, he's looking over his right shoulder. Where are you, Josh Kerr, he's saying. And I can tell you, the Scottish athlete is coming. Ingebrigtsen looks over his shoulder again with 250 metres to go. Ingebrigtsen leads. Josh Kerr coming up onto his shoulder. Chariot the Kenyan is going backwards. And all of a sudden, it looks like we've potentially got a 2-horse race, but Cole Hocker of the USA is getting involved. 120 metres to go in the Olympic final. Ingebrigtsen still has the lead. Josh Kerr comes onto his shoulder, but look at the American. Look at the American. Cole Hocker's going to upset the party. Josh Kerr says, not on my watch, but he's going to be beaten. Neither Jakob Ingebrigtsen or Josh Kerr are the men's 1500 metres Olympic champion because Cole Hocker from the USA has smashed the Olympic record.
And here is Cole Hocker, the new 1500 metres Olympic champion.
Cole, Olympic champion in the 1500 metres for the USA as well. How good does that feel?
I can't even put it into words, and I honestly haven't soaked in the moment really yet, and I'm sure it'll take a while, but I just feel so proud of myself on taking advantage of an opportunity because they're so few and far between do you get opportunities like this, and I can leave here knowing I took absolute advantage of that opportunity.
That was some race as well. How was it to be within it as that speed was winding up and winding up?
It was unlike anything I've ever experienced, and this is by far the loudest stadium I've ever been in. And consciously in the race, it was just deafening. And it's rare that I am kind of able to comprehend external things like that in a race, but it was so overwhelming in the best way possible.
And talk me through that finish in on the inside across that line first.
Yeah, I just saw the line kind of, and my body did the rest. And I feel like God carried me through the line, and because it was no feeling, no pain, just get to the line.
Well, huge congratulations, well done.
Thank you so much.
Catherine Merry, Alison Kirbishley, Andrew Assaji are all watching on, or have all been watching on. Catherine, a huge shock there, while all eyes were on Kerr and Ingebrigtsen. In stepped Cole Hocker to take gold.
100%. As Alison said earlier, Hocker's shocker. What a great line. You can see it all around the world at the moment. And you knew that Jakob Ingebrigtsen was really only mainly concerned about Josh Kerr. He looked for him twice on the final lap on the back straight to see what the position of the British man was. And Cole Hocker, as he said there to Sarah Mulkerrins, he took advantage of the situation, got himself in the right place, let his body do the rest. And if I can quickly describe Cole Hocker to our listeners, he's not the tallest of guys. He's very slight, which isn't unusual, as Andrew will tell you, for middle distance runners, but he's tiny in terms of he's got a small little face, and he's got his long hair tied back in a ponytail, and he's just had the race of his life. It was a shock. I did a poll on social media earlier: who's going to win the men's 1500? Josh Kerr, Jakob Ingebrigtsen, and I thought better put it in. Somebody else was another option. 3% of people said somebody else. That's how heavy those two were favourites to win it.
Alison, and he got it absolutely right, Cole Hocker, and took advantage, as he said, as Catherine described, of the race that was going on between those two favourites.
Yeah, and Jakob and his team will sit down tonight and work out what he did wrong, and what he did wrong was an even pace. He was a pacemaker for everybody else. He didn't do any damage within that race, and what I mean by that is, and Andrew will be able to explain it as a middle distance athlete, I've just been speaking to our statistician, and he showed me the splits every 100 metres. It was even. That's perfect. That's exactly what you want from a pacemaker when you're trying to set a record. He didn't do anything different, and actually Josh and the rest of the field just sat off him in that early pace. And when we did think he did the damage, he actually didn't, because they just checked back a little bit, and they were the ones that came again. Now, what I didn't think was at that pace that a 3:30 man in Cole Hocker could run a 3-second personal best and come through and take it. So effectively, a 3:30 man outkicked a 3:26 man at his own game. That's the bit that's blown my mind. But and actually, he was to give him his due and his and justice to the right man that won tonight. He is a talented athlete. Andrew Assaji mentioned him. He's an American champion. He was definitely one of the 2 or 3 other guys that you would have said will be on the podium. I think he was 15-1, and I only know that because one of the guys that Crammy coaches has got him in a sweepstake. Can you believe that? For a quid. 773-1. I mean, he is relying on Tual winning the 800, and as Andrew Assaji will agree, he ain't going to do that. But never mind. He still went with Cole Hocker, which I find really impressive.
Yeah, got Cole Hocker as the gold medalist in that race. But we built it up as Josh Kerr against Jakob Ingebrigtsen. From Josh Kerr's perspective, Andrew, when he sits down to analyse that race, how do you think he'll assess it?
I think he'll be quite positive in the way that he performed. So he although he spoke about winning the gold, I know that his main aim was to do the best that he could on the day. He just, in his head, as we all did, thought that would be enough to win the gold. And if we pitch him against Jakob, excluding everyone else, then it was, right? That was what we all thought was going to be enough to win the race. But it just didn't go his way. I think he will appreciate the fact that the way that Cole Hocker took the race by the scruff of the neck and went to win, he probably thought that that's the kind of personality he's got himself. Like, he would appreciate the fact that happened, and he didn't cower to these two big favourites, and he just fell into that 3% that we spoke about in terms of who else is going to win it. But I think all in all he'll be positive. But I love a hungry Josh Kerr, and I think he's going to continue to be hungry because of this.
And that's what's interesting about this. He comes away with a silver medal, but is still looking to the future and still looking at ways to improve. We heard from Keely Hodgkinson earlier on today, and even though she came away with a gold medal, she's still looking at a world record. And that is the way at this level, is that it is about constant improvement. It's about what happens in the future. Just before 9 o'clock, the USA's Gabby Thomas took gold in the women's 200 metres. Julian Alfred finished behind her to claim St. Lucia's second ever Olympic medal, just days after winning her country's first in the 100 metres. The celebrations will be huge in St. Lucia. For Team GB, Dina Asher-Smith came agonisingly close to the Olympic podium. A photo finish was needed to announce Brittany Brown's bronze medal. Asher-Smith came in fourth. Here she is speaking afterwards to Sarah Mulcairns.
Dina, how are you doing? Fourth in that final. Yeah. What are the feelings, the emotions?
Yeah, no, I feel good. It's been a long week and I'm proud of that performance. It was a really strong field. All the girls had across them so many strengths. You got so many great bend runners, so many amazing finishers, and I was really proud to have held my own. I'm really happy for the three medalists, especially for Julian. She's my training partner. She's such a cutie, and it's been a joy to see her do so well. So,
and talk us through your race. I mean, you're a phenomenal bend runner.
Yeah, I was just told, just get out and keep going. If you die, you die. But just get out and keep going. And that's what I kind of have fun doing that, because normally you run like far more strategically, but it's not often I get that instruction. Last time I had that instruction was the final at Eugene, so I had some fun with that.
And I mean, it's a phenomenal event, such a huge amount of talent. You've mentioned Julian there, you know, even Daryl, the depths of this event.
Yeah, women's sprinting is really incredible right now. I mean, if you go back to 2012, back then, like, these kind of times, they would have all done phenomenally well in that era, so it's a great time to be a female sprinter, and yeah.
Thanks for chatting, appreciate it, well done.
That was Dina Asher-Smith, and Alison, when we heard her speak after not qualifying for the 100 metres final, she was upset and she was angry in equal measure, and still was actually the following morning. But there she seemed incredibly happy with the way that maybe not just that race had gone, but the way that her Olympics has gone as a whole. I think there will have been higher expectations to her, maybe from outside of athletics. But do you think she's delivered on what she promised ahead of these games?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I said it right at the start of the week, that if Dina came away without a medal in the individual, I don't think it was a disaster for her at all, because she's made so many changes in her life and her coaching setup, and that takes a while to bed in. And when I say while, I mean like a full winter, if not 2 winter cycles. And she's only been with Coach Flo, Edric Floreal, for 9-10 months now. And we haven't really seen the sort of times and the amount of racing that she usually does on the circuit this year. She started quite late. Yes, she did take her regained her European title, but then when we saw her in the 100 metres here, she said she's in shape, she's not got any injuries, she came in the best shape of her life, is how she put it. For her to then pick herself up, you know, it has been a real, I mean, we're in the land of Euro Disney, it has been a Disney roller coaster for her, because she had no time, literally 12 hours, 14 hours to pick herself up and get back out in the heats of the 200 to get to another Olympic final, global final. Yes, I mean, she will reflect on it. She sounded so positive there, but that's Dina has this ability to pull on that face when she needs to say the right thing. But I mean, deep down, she's still going to look at the time and know that she was 2/10 away from a medal, and that will hurt. But then, as Andrew's just said about Josh Kerr, that's what drives you on. That's what gets you up every day when you don't want to train. She'll remember that moment, and I think another winter with Coach Flo, another winter training with the Olympic gold medalist in the 100, silver medalist in the 200. That will be the fuel that she needs.
And what's happened over the last few years for Dina Asher-Smith is that she was the focus of all the attention for British women's sprinting for a little period of time. She won the world title in Doha in 2019. She really was the one everybody went to with women's sprinting. But Daryl Neita has emerged so much in the last couple of years. She started to share that pressure and expectation, in my opinion, with the rise of Daryl Neita and the times that she's been running. So they're now going head to head, which is why we can say, look, we've got two women in an Olympic final that hasn't happened since 1980. So I think that's brought a little bit of pressure off her shoulders. And she's so experienced, Dina. She was the second oldest in that final. And I don't say that to be ageist. I say it because she has such experience. You know, she's 23 major championship medals in her locker. She knows how to perform. And I agree totally with Alison. Another season under the new coach with the women's 100 metre Olympic champion Julian Alfred, as she alluded to Sarah Moore-Kerins there. The next couple of years could still be really, really exciting for her.
And we are talking about Dina Asher-Smith and mentioning Daryl Neita, not quite in passing, but in sort of second place in that conversation. And after just missing out on the podium in the 100 metres and finishing not far off Dina Asher-Smith at all in the 200 metres, should we be talking about her more as an equal rather than as someone who is chasing Dina for her crown? Is she close to that?
She's very close, but she's still not beaten Dina when it really matters. And that's what she's got to get. That tag, she's got to shake that tag off by doing it at the biggest stage. And you know, she herself was 3/10 off a medal, and so close in the 100 metres. So she will go back to her coach Marco Aurelius, and you know, she's based herself in Italy. Again, another athlete who's upped and moved to a coaching setup that she thinks is going to work for her. And I think she's done a one full winter cycle with him. And look, these two girls are now going to come together and have to try and get us a medal. And I think there's a real opportunity that we can come away with the gold. I do. I think Jamaica are looking very, very shaky. We don't even know whether they've got their big guns in Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and Sharika Jackson because they're out with injury. So we haven't heard anything that says that they're actually going to put themselves on the line. So I think the Americans, obviously, and the Americans are always, you know, they don't do as much practice as we do. So I think, you know, that's the next focus for these girls. Their champs have not finished.
The next focus for Great Britain's Matt Hudson-Smith is the 400 metres final. That's tomorrow, and we'll bring you coverage of that one. But he looked very comfortable in the semi-final, and Andrew, he just cruised to victory. Should fans of Team GB be getting excited about him right now?
I think they should have already been excited about that. He's been on an upward trajectory for sure rolling into this Olympics. I think, although that I'm really confident that he's going to perform really well, there are, is it now 4? Half the field has run under 44 seconds going into the final, as in recently. Even Karani James, the 2008 Olympic champion, has now come into form again now. Or 2012, sorry. Make him older than he actually is. So it's going to be really tough. I haven't actually seen the lane draw yet. I think that's going to be pivotal. I think Matt's learned how to run the 400 now, but it's always quite important, the lane draw in the 400 and who you can judge yourself against.
He's in lane 6, Andrew.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm no professional 400 metre runner, but that sounds good to me, better than lane 1. But he's going to have people on the outside to judge against, who he has raced now and has raced in fast races. I still think that the likes of Michael Norman and that is coming into form is probably going to be spurred on by his performance at these games and his step forward. But yeah, I really hope he comes away with at least a medal, and that gold is definitely a strong chance of him taking that gold.
We've got the men's 200 metres semi-finals as well tomorrow, and 3 British women racing tomorrow in the 400 metres hurdles semi-finals. Kath, there's a lot to look forward to tomorrow night.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot to look forward to from the whole of tomorrow, and they're just like London buses at the Olympics. It's just so good. We have so many events across the men's and women's programme that there's always something happening. And yeah, from tomorrow morning, Cindy Sember, the UK record holder in the sprint hurdles, will go out, and Andrew's event gets going. Woo! The men's 800 metres. Yes, Andrew. Elliot Giles, who's been drafted in for the injured Jake Whiteman, who had to pull out. He's come off his camping holiday with his family. Ben Patterson and Max Bergen start as well. So no, there's a lot going on on the second day in the morning, and of course, as you say, Kelly, as you get into that evening session.
Busy day as always. Andrew, lovely to talk to you this evening. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Been great.
Thank you very much to Andrew Assaci. Earlier this evening, skateboarder Sky Brown took bronze despite dislocating her shoulder just last week. We'll hear what she had to say after finishing third. But first, let's listen back to her final run at the skate park.
Here she goes for Team GB. Sky Brown, 16 years of age, wearing the Team GB uniform, the navy and the red, gets screams from the crowd as she executes her first trick. Now building up some speed to try and get some air, grabbing onto the skateboard with her left hand. That's significant because that's her injured hand, but she's obviously willing on this final run to pick up further injury there, because this is it. It's all or nothing now for Sky Brown, and she's already midway through her routine. It looks flawless so far. Her blonde hair drifting along in the breeze behind her. Up over the rail. Brief stop at the top of it. That was intentional. Down again as she looks for speed. Up the vertical wall. Over the waterfall. Then does the little kick flick over the rail. That's the signature move. Now remember, she fell after doing that in her first round. This time more comfortable. Another 360 to finish. And she loves it. She's exhausted. Sky Brown has given it everything. But she bangs her palm onto the roof of the box in celebration. Is it going to be enough? There is no doubt Sky Brown leaves nothing out there at Place de la Concorde.
Sky, you must be so stoked. Another Olympics, another medal. Talk us through it.
I'm very stoked. You know, this journey has been crazy. Lots of downs, but also lots of ups. I mean, since Tokyo, learned a lot. Won every event since then until the last. It's just been a lot of downs too, knee injury, a lot of injuries. Was one spot away for qualifying for the surf. A little bit of down, but honestly, overall, it's made me stronger, and super stoked to get in here. You know, I wasn't even sure I was gonna make it here, so just stoked to be back on the podium with these amazing girls.
Proper stoked. Talk us through the level of skating in that final, because all the ladies really stepped up, didn't they?
They stepped up. I mean, the level for girls skating is crazy, and it's just growing every day. And since Tokyo, the level has changed crazily, and so stoked I get to be a part of this amazing group of girls.
Yeah, it's real good camaraderie seeing you all out there, seeing you push it. You're sharing the podium with your friends, aren't you?
Yes, I mean, me and Kokana, she got 2 silver medals now, I got 2 bronze. It's really cool to share that experience again. And Arissa, she's so talented. I mean, I'm so glad I get to share a podium with her. She's a beast, so yeah.
Well, I think you've probably deserved a bit of time off, rest the shoulder, and we'll see you back soon, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure, thank you.
Huge congrats.
That was Sky Brown, and there's been a goal in the Olympics football. Maz Faruqi.
Wow. How's this for a scoreline, Kelly? Brazil 3, Spain 0. The world champions caught out at the back, chasing the game in the second half now. Adriana hitting the bar with a strike, then she was quickest in the follow-up to follow up 6 yards out, to fire it in to the back of the Spain net. Spain panicking, out of ideas and heading out of the semi-finals, looking like they're going to be contesting the bronze medal match. Brazil looking like they're going to be contesting the gold medal match against the USA. With 73 minutes played, they have a 3-0 lead.
Maz, thank you very much. Time now to head over to Roland Garros for more boxing with Steve Bunce and Jonathan Overend.
Thank you, Kelly. Enjoy the rest of your Parisian evening, and we welcome you back inside court. Philippe Chatrier here at Roland Garros, but there's plenty more live action, Steve, coming up over the next hour. We've got Kelly Harrington going for history for Ireland, going for back-to-back lightweight gold medals. It's simply never been done before by an Irish woman. And we've also got Iman Khalif from Algeria coming up in the next bout that is in the ring, and we'll talk a lot about her in the build-up to the fight. But just interestingly, around the grounds, as well as the thousands and thousands of Irish, lots of Algerians coming here to support her tonight.
And it's really weird because her first contest out at the warehouse on the edge of town by the airport, there were very few Algerians there. That was before the stories started to evolve and the accusations were made. But then for a second contest, which was against the Hungarian, the place was packed. The Algerians were out in force. And in fact, the neutrals in the crowd and the Algerians all booed the Hungarian because she'd put some rather unpleasant things on social media. So I was fully expecting, as were 200 or 300 members of the global media that were there, expecting the Algerian Imani Khalif to be booed, maybe to be heckled, maybe to have people turn around, walk outside, all of the usual things people have done during protests at sports events down the ages. Nobody did. She was warmly greeted. She arrived in tears. She left in tears. And, well, people know my feelings and thoughts on that. Perhaps we'll keep it to the boxing a bit more tonight. So I'm not at all surprised. I came down here on Metro Line 748. I had to change 16 and a half times before I got here. Then I had to walk 7k, as you know. I'm not making an issue of it. It's a first world problem. I appreciate that, Overs. But my trains, plural, were packed with Algerian fans with flags and face paint.
The strange thing is, my train was direct, Steve, and 5 stops. So I've got utterly no idea what you've been doing, places you've been visiting ahead of tonight's boxing. But it is a semi-final in the women's 66 kilogram division, so she's already guaranteed a bronze medal, and tonight she fights a Thai opponent for a guaranteed silver. And just to remind you of how this talking point has really dominated the women's competition here at the Olympic boxing, this row about the eligibility of 2 boxers, Imani Khalif of Algeria, who we've been talking about, but also Taiwan's Lin Yu Ting. They're both guaranteed at least bronze medals. Last year they were disqualified from the World Championships. The body that oversaw that 2023 event is the International Boxing Association, and it says both fighters failed gender eligibility tests. That organisation held a press conference yesterday to clarify why the 2 fighters were deemed ineligible for competition last year. Our reporter Adi Adedoyin was there. So Adi, are we any clearer as to the reasons for their disqualification from the World Championships?
Well, if this press conference was designed to improve the reputation of the International Boxing Association, the governing body for world amateur boxing, it did quite the opposite. It was very, very poorly organised, started well over an hour late. They had microphone issues, sound issues. The president of the organisation, Umar Kremlev, didn't actually appear in person. He appeared on screen. And in his opening speech, he went off on a bizarre rant in which he criticised the IOC president, Thomas Bach, accused him of corruption and called him a few names, which I can't repeat on the radio. He said his role, this is Umar Kremlev, was to protect the integrity of women's sport and accuse women's sport of dying. The whole point of this press conference was to try and give some clarification as to why the 2 boxers were deemed to have failed eligibility tests last year. But instead it created even more confusion. For example, the IBA had said over the past few days that it didn't test the 2 boxers for testosterone, yet the president, Umar Kremlev, said different in the press conference. Afterwards, I caught up with Chris Roberts, the CEO of the organisation, to try and get him to clarify on some of the points raised in the press conference.
Yeah, we were tested in 2022 in Istanbul, and those results were done in the laboratory, and the results that came out that identified in accordance with the rules in ineligibility to compete.
So it was blood tests that you did?
Blood tests, yeah.
But you said those blood tests were inconclusive?
Correct.
What, for both boxers or for one boxer?
For both.
Okay. Yeah. So when you did, so you then waited for a year to do them again in 2023?
Well, about 10 months, I think it was, something like this, yeah.
And what did the second blood test then tell you?
Exactly the same.
And they were again inconclusive?
Yeah, exactly the same, yeah.
Right. So after that, then, how did you reach the conclusion that they were ineligible? If you say when you said they were inconclusive,
So basically, it gave us the same information. It was then presented to the board of directors to decide, based on our eligibility criteria, what constitutes male, what constitutes female.
And as far as those blood tests were concerned, what were you trying to identify? Because I got a bit confused with President Umar Kremlev, who said it showed testosterone levels were in the male range, which wasn't what I thought you were doing.
It was the chromosome thing. So, you know, it was to identify that effectively gender testing. Yeah.
When you say chromosome thing, what do you mean?
So basically, what level of chromosome marries up with XXXY? So based on that.
But Umar Kremlev said you tested for testosterone, and he said they were in the male range.
No, so basically the blood tests were done, and it was based on the criteria set against the. It was a gender test, blood test. So again, going into the detail of the scientific piece, I can't give you the.
No, what I mean is, was he wrong then when he said that?
I'm not going to state that. No, I'm not going to state that.
Because the reason I'm asking this is because the reason why we all came here is because we thought we would get a bit of clarification and a better understanding of the situation. But he said one thing, which is that it showed elevated levels of testosterone, but you're saying that that's not the case.
Well, there are elevated levels of testosterone in that scenario of testing, but it brings out a couple of different things. Okay, so it brings out a couple of different. It identifies a few things in that test.
I also got a little bit confused because the doctor seemed to suggest that they were genetically male. What did he mean by that?
I don't know. It's what Yanis's point is on that one. So you'll have to ask him that.
Well, that's the CEO of the IBA, the International Boxing Association, Chris Roberts, and he was speaking there to the BBC's Adi Doyne. Listening in, Steve Bunt. Steve, this became a story because of the actions at the World Championships last year of the IBA, correct?
Correct.
That's why it's a story here at the Olympic Games. Listening to their head there, people may think to themselves, there appears to be a lot of confusion, a lot of grey areas around this story still, when, as Adi says, all we want is clarity.
I've been obviously following this story very closely, and I've had some very strong opinions on this story, but if I can steer away from my opinions and just deal with what we heard there. So what we heard there, that some tests were taken and quote unquote the chromosome thing, they were for the quote unquote the chromosome thing, which I find is just bizarre, absolutely this bizarre language. We were also told there by the CEO of the IBA that both tests, the one taken in Istanbul in 2022 at the World Championships and the one taken in 2023 in New Delhi, this is not me speculating, they were both inconclusive. And yet we're led to believe from these two inconclusive tests for the quote unquote chromosome thing, it led to the two women involved, Ling Yuting and also obviously Imani Khalif, being excluded from last year's championships, the World Championships, and then the IBA releasing press statements in 10 days before the Olympics to alert people that these two people had been excluded last year, even though we've just heard there from the CEO that the tests they did were inconclusive for the, I'm going to use the expression again because the CEO of the IBA used it, for the chromosome thing. My stance has been, and you know, I've been a bit of an outlier here, my stance has been all along that I'm afraid I'm not convinced about these tests. Well, we've just heard from the CEO at a hastily arranged press conference in Paris where 3 members of the IBA were flown in, and the boss himself was parachuted in via video link, said things that we can't repeat, and the man there, Chris Roberts, didn't know what the chief medical officer meant when he was talking. Well, Overs, I've got to tell you, I used to watch Monty Python as well when I was younger.
We will concentrate on the boxing now because Imani Khalif is about to be introduced for her semi-final, and the reaction she is about to receive, I think, will be loud. And judging by the number of Algerian flags which are currently waving, she is going to receive a lot of support. The two fighters are about to be introduced for this women's 66 kilogram semi-final. Crowd in place inside court, Philippe Chatrier. A lot of Irish flags as they look forward to Kelly Harrington, who is in the gold medal match, the one and only final that we have on the schedule this evening, as the big screen shows pictures behind the scenes of Khelif. And again, those Algerian flags wave. Reminder, this is a semi-final. Harrington against Yang Wen Liu, approximately 6 minutes past 10 your time, although I think we're running a little behind schedule on the boxing tonight here, but you will hear that fight live. Harrington against Yang for the gold medal in the women's lightweight division.
It might be a semi-final, but since the storm 10 days ago, every single fight has been like this.
Here is the reception for Thailand's Yanyem Sunwanafang, 23 years of age, and she skips out around the ring, about to fight Imani Khelif, who will be introduced second. Here comes her introduction. Big noise, and you have to take that as a show of collective international support. Sure, there are Algerian flags flying, but there are flags of many other nations flying as well. The French flags, I can see an Ecuadorian flag to my right, the flag of Greece, they're all flying as Imani Khelif comes to the ring for her semi-final. What do you make of that reception, Steve?
Well, it's the loudest we've seen inside this arena tonight, and we've had an American in, and we've obviously had Lewis Richardson in. That was a show. You pointed it out, Overs. That was a show of solidarity with that woman, that Algerian hero in the ring.
Well, her statements have been measured. They have been calm. They have been to the point, and I think if you haven't seen them, they're well worth looking up. She will speak again at the end of this bout, but will it be as a loser or will it be as an Olympic gold medal finalist? She is guaranteed, well, they're both guaranteed bronze medals, because the losers of the semi-finals at the Olympic boxing share a bronze medal apiece. No bronze medal playoff like in some other Olympic disciplines. The winner of this will go through to the final and will have at least a silver medal to show for it. What a moment for Sunwanafang from Thailand and for Khelif from Algeria. Inspired by watching the Rio Olympic Games of 2016, appointed a UNICEF ambassador to Algeria at the start of this year, says she particularly wants to inspire girls and children from disadvantaged backgrounds within her nation of Algeria, for whom she fights proudly tonight in blue. Khelif against her Thai opponent Sunwanafang in red. Centre ring. Khelif, the taller fighter, leading out with the left jab. Measured stance, orthodox stance, both these fighters. Who's going to commit first? A couple of jabs thrown out from the Algerian. Then the Thai going for the body with her jab. Pumping that left hand in. Nice combination off the back foot from Khelif. She's a highly talented boxer. 38 wins on her amateur record, 9 defeats. Combination from Khelif again off the back foot. The left hand getting through. And Sunwanafang hasn't really scored too much in the early stages. Approaching the end of the first minute of the opening round. It's all quite tight, Steve Bunce.
It is quite tight. It's cagey. You know, Khelif was always one of the 2 or 3 women that was expected to advance, expected to progress. Half the problem, which added to the entire story, was the Italian woman Carini turning around after one punch in her first fight in these Olympics. Since then, she's settled down. The boxing tournament has settled down. She's a good stylist boxer. She I thought was the main threat to our very own Rosie Eccles, and we talked about that in those innocent days from 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah, this could have been Rosie Eccles in this ring tonight in this division, and heartbreaking to see that her family arrived at the Olympic Village over the middle weekend because they fully expected her to get through the first round and be fighting here at Roland Garros. We've got 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining in the opening round. Very cagey between Thailand and Algeria, with Kelly Harrington to come for Ireland in the women's 60-kilogram final. Khalif now on the front foot, combination, and then she gets her opponent almost in a headlock there, and Sun Wanifang is down on one knee on the canvas, picks herself up, adjusts her red head guard. Of course, the women in Olympic boxing still using the head guards, whereas the men, they were discarded with ahead of Tokyo. 50 seconds remaining in the opening round. Sun Wanipang second at the Asian Games last year, and silver indeed at the World Championships. So she's a fine competitor herself, but she'll be wary of the threat of her taller opponent Khalif on the night. Khalif just raising her right arm there, maybe as a ploy of distraction. 30 seconds left on the clock. Opening round.
That we've seen that the arms being raised. It's generally after one boxer scored a jab, he or she raises their arm in the air just to remind the referees. Khalif looks comfortable here. She looks controlled. She's using every inch of that 22-foot ring. She's sticking with her jab. She's basic. I've liked her style. I think she's a very stylish woman. She's boxes very, very neat.
Just got caught on the inside by the Thais, looking to finish the round strongly, but they're kept at distance. The jab is thrown out by Khalif right at the end of the opening round, and a respectful touch of the gloves, and the Algerians take that as the cue to leap out of their seats at ringside and celebrate the opening round. However, it has been scored 3-2 to Khalif.
No, I think it's the other way round. Isn't it 3-2 the other way round?
1-2.
Yes, it's 3-2. It's 3-2 the other way round. It's 3-2 to the blue. I thought Khalif could have taken that.
Or actually, it's all 5 rounds to blue, Steve.
Is it?
It is. It's a unanimous round to Khalif. Khalif in blue.
No, Khalif's in red. No, sorry,
Khalif's in blue.
Khalif's in blue. Thank you. Overs. All five rounds to Khalif.
We'll get there.
I was staggered at that point. 3-2 was bad enough. I thought she won it
Let's just check in with Maz Faruqi watching Brazil-Spain. Maz.
Well, Salma Parinuelo had pulled one back for Spain at the end of the 90, but now Brazil have just scored a fourth out, able to make the most of the counter-attack. Caroline, I think it is, the player with the final touch to find the back of the net for Brazil's fourth in this match. We haven't had the ball come up yet with how much stoppage time is left to play in this semi-final in Marseille, but I think we can safely say now that Brazil are going to be into that gold medal match. Big shock here. Brazil 4, Spain 1.
Big win, isn't it? Thank you very much indeed, Maz. So just to confirm, after the opening round of this semi-final, Imad Khalif from Algeria won that opening round on all 5 judges' scorecards. The spacing, Steve, on our computer needs a little bit of work. But anyway, on we go with the second round. So do our brains after another frazzling day at the Olympic Games. So much to enjoy out here, and we're deep into the night at the boxing. As we move venues, we're at Roland Garros, the home of the tennis in the first week. Now the boxing. Now that was an excellent shot from Sun Wanipang. That got through and that connected with the headgear of Khalif. She maybe felt that, and she just holds on for a few seconds there. Possibly the Thai's best moment of the fight so far. She's looking very keen, the shorter fighter in the red, trying to get in on the inside. Khalif trying to keep her at distance with the jab. Both fighters out of the orthodox stance. We're a minute and a half through the second round. It's just a suggestion that it's getting a little tighter, Steve.
Yeah, so Wanifang needs to get a bit closer, get her left foot a bit closer, and let her hands go, because she's getting picked off at distance. She moves very well. You look at Khalif's feet. It's beautiful balance, beautiful poise. So Sun Wanifang needs to just get closer, let her hands go, because as we've firmly established, she is down on all 5 scorecards as we came in to this second. Can I just say, Overs, looking out, I don't want to look away from the ring in case something happens, but everywhere you look, the Algerians are up, standing. Stewards are trying to get them back into the chairs. Everywhere, over here to the left, all the way around. In all little pockets here, the Algerians are up. They're grabbing each other. They're clutching each other. They're waving their flags. They're cheering her on. It's a national issue what's happening here.
They've come down to the front of the gangways, absolutely, Steve. It's like they've left their seats at the back back and they want a closer look at this. In comes Suwangfang from Thailand, and it's a good combination. The right hand got through there, and Khalif just perhaps tiring a little bit towards the end of this second round. 20 seconds remaining of it. She stretches out the left jab once, twice, 3 times does Khalif, but then on the inside comes the Thai fighter battling hard. She's had problems with her head guard throughout, has Suwangfang. She is really struggling to keep it in place, but the fight continues. Closing stages of the second round. Which way are the judges at ringside going to score this one? Of course, if Khalif gets it on 3 of the judges' scorecards, well, it's looking very tidy for her. And she has won it again on all 5 scorecards. It's unanimous, Steve Bunce. Imani Khalif is on her way, it seems, to the Olympic final.
She's on her way to the Olympic final, and that means that the story, the Imani Khalif story, which, by the way, is on the front cover of the world's oldest sports magazine this week, the Boxing News, have stuck Imani Khalif on the front cover. Last weekend in Los Angeles, Terence Crawford won a world title at his 4th weight in front of about 50,000 people. That's not on the cover. Imani Khalif is on the cover because it is the story that all boxing is watching and all boxing wants to know about. She will be in the final. Unless something ridiculous happens in this round, she's going to be in the final over.
And look at those Algerians again, Steve. They're trying to get even closer, and the stewards are really trying to, well, they're saying to them, well, where's your seat? And they're going, well, it's way back there. We've come this far. We're not going to go back for the final round. Standing room only as Imani Khalif of Algeria tries to secure her place in the Olympic Games final, and the gold medal is on for her. She's fought impressively. She's kept Suwangfang at distance for most of this fight, and as hard as the Thai can try to get on the inside, it's so much easier said than done. Khalif classily pushes out that left jab and then connects with a right uppercut, and when Suwangfang comes in on the inside, Steve, it's so hard for her to make an impact.
When she's coming in close, she's not working. She's trying to push Khalif off when she should just, if she can, somehow let her hands go from in close. She's a couple of inches shorter. Let her hands go when she's close. Let her hands go on the way in, and then when on the way out, move back so you don't get countered. She's getting picked apart from distance, and she's also getting picked apart when she's inside.
2 minutes remaining in the third and final round. You can have 10-8 rounds. You can indeed have 10-7 rounds, but it's very, very rare. And, a fighter would have to be knocked down on a series of occasions. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Already Khalif is doing a little bit of showboating, certainly sending out the message that she knows she is in firm command of this semi-final and about to take her place in the gold medal match. Approaching the midway point of the third round, and the fighter from Thailand, 23 years of age, the younger of the two, just has no ounces out there. There's nothing she can do to get past that jab and the combinations that Khalif is throwing at speed. And then she's on her bike, she's backpedaling, she's a great mover as well as with the power through those 2 lines of attack. The fighters are separated. The Thai fighter bows respectfully to the referee. Khalif and the Algerians are a minute away from celebrating a famous win.
And we'll know about it the moment we get in that last 10. They will start relaxing. They will start celebrating victory, and rightly so. It's one battle won. She's raging another one, and that's not in the ring. This is the fair one. There's another battle somewhere else that she has to also compete in. We're not talking about that one. We're talking about this one. And she has boxed quite superbly tonight against a woman that lost in the World Championship final, against a woman that's won the Asian Games, against one of the top competitors at this weight.
Oh, lovely combination, and then through with a straight right hand, and there might be a standing count here. There is a standing count. That was brilliant from Khalif. It was a combination first of all, and then a straight right hand, straight through the middle. And Suwangfang felt that. There's only 15 seconds remaining in the final round. Khalif is finishing in style, and she's going to win this bout unanimously, surely, and take her place in the gold medal match. She's doing it for herself. She's doing it for Algerians. And as she skips around, she celebrates victory. And look at the scene, Steve, in front of us. The Algerian flags, predominantly green and white, with the red in the centre. They are waving everywhere we look.
That's national pride, Overs. That's a nation that feels like it's been pushed to the edge. It's a nation that feels like, and this is not me judging, it's a nation that feels like it's been victimised. A nation that feels like it has been identified for some reason. She has maintained a calm and a poise and a degree of dignity. So many people involved in this exhausting row surrounding her have not retained that. She has. She has been all the way through dignified, if a bit emotional, and broken. She has boxed brilliantly tonight to reach the final.
And that was a quite brilliant combination late on, wasn't it?
That led to the 8 count. Absolutely superb. Absolutely superb.
She won the first 2 rounds unanimously. It would be a huge surprise if she doesn't win the third in a similar manner. What a way to win a semi-final. I mean, a semi-final to dominate like that. So impressive. As we join the announcer for the official verdict. Khalif is in blue.
Advancing to the gold medal final. Victorieuse au point par décision unanime et combattra pour la médaille d'or en finale du tournoi olympique de boxe. In blue from
Her arm is raised and she keeps it high for multiple seconds, almost like a power salute. Imani Khalif has been such a talking point, but she let her fist do the talking in the ring tonight. And with a classy display, the Algerian makes it through to the gold medal contest. And the story continues. And she's skipping wildly in celebration, the big smile. The winner of a unanimous decision, 5-0, Imani Khalif through to the final in the women's 66-kilogram division. This is 5 Live Sport. Coming up in the next half hour, can Kelly Harrington make Olympic history for Ireland, trying to defend her gold medal from Tokyo and do it again? We will find out before 10:30. Let's get the latest news now. Just after 10 o'clock, here's Nick Hatfield.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thank you. Good evening. Sir Keir Starmer's promising communities will be safe after a week of violence across England and Northern Ireland. He's been holding another emergency COBRA meeting. The Prime Minister says they discussed a coordinated response to the violence and they're doing everything possible to ensure police have the resources they need. A teenager from Bolton is thought to be the first person to receive a prison sentence after the riots. Hundreds of people have been arrested, with warnings some of those involved could face terrorism charges. Elsewhere, and Kamala Harris is to speak at a rally in Philadelphia after announcing her running mate for the White House. She's picked Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, who'd become vice president if she beats Donald Trump in November's election. Mr. Walz has called it the honour of a lifetime. And Eluned Morgan has been appointed as the first ever female First Minister of Wales. The Senedd was recalled from its summer break to vote her in.
Escape with a good book on BBC Sounds, like Yellowface by Rebecca F. Kwong.
I play up our connection. My grief over her death becomes a cornerstone of my origin story.
Enlightenment by Sarah Perry.
Thomas examined the image of a stone woman stuck on the verges of the lake. I suppose she's in the water now. What is she holding?
And Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin.
Do you have a mistress? I asked him. I don't seem to be very interested in women right now.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Ladies and gentlemen.
So welcome back to 5 Live Olympics, the second Tuesday of the Games, and one more event to bring you before we sign off from day 11 of the Paris Games. It comes in the boxing, which has moved here to Roland Garros, the traditional home of the French Open tennis, and it's been amazing to see the boxing fans come into this tennis venue ahead of the shift of venues, you know, just looking up in wonder at all the history and all the names on the honours board and under the lights on Philippe Chatrier Stadium tonight. Ireland's Kelly Harrington fights in her last international bout in the women's 60-kilogram gold medal match. She won this title 3 years ago in Tokyo, and standing in her way of defending it is the top seed, China's Yang Wenlu. We'll be building up to this shortly. But already tonight, Lewis Richardson missed out on the gold medal match in the men's light middleweight division, losing a close points decision to Mexico's Marco Verde. He does win a bronze medal, but he won't get to fight for gold. Let's hear from the Essex man after that match.
Lewis, you thought you'd won that. 2 of the judges thought you'd won that. How devastating is it not to have won that?
Yeah, it is devastating. It's a good word. It's raw. You know, I've stepped out the ring moments ago, so emotions are very high. Obviously disappointed to miss out on the final and you know, box for a gold on Friday night. So yeah, initial disappointment, but I hope to look back and be extremely proud of what I've achieved, because you know, I've created history within my city, Colchester. I'm the only British boxer to medal at these games, so you know, hopefully I'll look back with pride and you know, happiness in the future.
Did your fight go to the plan that you'd set out before? Could you have done anything differently?
I mean, it's hard to say right at this moment. Obviously, as I say, I've just stepped out the ring. I'll have to go back and analyse it, but it was close. It's a 3-2 split decision. You know, 2 of the judges went for me, 3 went against me. Every round was competitive and close, and that's amateur boxing. You know, it's just a flip of the coin sometimes, and unfortunately, in this case, it didn't go my way.
You came out into this amazing arena tonight with so much confidence. I mean, you're clearly sort of born to be on this kind of stage.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, it's been just an amazing experience. So grateful for everyone who's helped me along the way. It's been an amazing journey. I've been boxing 12, 13 years, and just the amount of people and like support I've had throughout those years has been so influential in me achieving what I've achieved tonight. You know, as I say, creating history for my family, myself, my city. So, you know, even talking to you now, it brings pride, but it's just, you know, I'm a winner, and obviously it's disappointing not to be able to box for the gold on Friday.
And what will it be like for you taking that bronze medal home to Colchester?
I don't know. We'll soon find out next week, but I don't know. I need to sort of lick my wounds for the moment right now, and sort of go back to the village tonight, probably drown my sorrows. I've been dieting like crazy to make the weight. I'm massive at the weight. It's a challenge for me, so drown my sorrows and eat some cake, and just, you know, look back and hopefully celebrate. Not sort of dwell on the loss, but celebrate the win, because I've had two fantastic wins out here. Support from Great Britain's been amazing, so you know, I'm proud but also disappointed.
Well, you've done yourself proud. We appreciate you talking to us.
Thank you. Cheers.
Lewis Richardson talking to Andy Stevenson down there at ringside, and Steve, again, a very measured response from someone who inside must have been hurting so badly over the course of those 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, well, I could hear it. You know, knowing well enough Overs, I could hear that in his voice there, and I thought at one point he might get a bit emotional. He could have got to the final tonight. Let's get that absolutely right. He could have got to the final. But if we could just go back a little bit, okay? I'm not taking you down memory lane. I just want to give a few facts and figures here and just let you know that all was not perfect in the last 2 years of Lewis Richardson's life, okay? He was out of the ring for 366 days. When he came back, he found out that his weight division, middleweight, had gone. It had vanished. It had been eaten up. So we have a jump in the weight categories from 71 kilograms to 80 kilograms. In the past, it would be 71, 75, and then 80. Okay, 75 has gone. That's where he's been, 75 for 3 or 4 years. That's the weight category he tried to reach the last Olympics at, but failed. So he has a decision to make, Overs. Does he go up 5 kilograms? Which is a lot of weight, okay? Does he go up 5 kilograms to light heavyweight, or does he come down 4 kilograms, which is also a lot of weight, to light middleweight? That's what he's referring to there when he said, I'm going to drown my sorrows and get some cake, because making weight is hard. That's not an excuse, that's just a fact, because someone might point out, but Buncey, all of the boxers in and around there had the same thing to do. When he came back, he tried to convince Rob McCracken, who runs GB Boxing. He said, Rob, give me a chance. So Rob said, but it's not your weight, son. Give me a chance. He self-funded to go to a tournament in Faro. I think it's called the Faro Festival of Boxing. I think he boxed 3 times there in November of last year. He went to that tournament to get some experience and prove he could do during a tournament. Because when you box at a tournament, Overs, you have to make the weight every day. You don't weigh in once and then get box and then walk away. You weigh in every single day you fight, and you're allowed a minuscule amount of increase, but it's rubbish. It's like, you know, half a cup of Bovril. So he went away to a tournament, self-funded, won that tournament. Then he had a bit of a run this year, went out to the final qualifier, which finished in June. And you're going to say to me, but the Olympics started in July, Bunsey. What about the preparation? What about the camp? What about the tapering down? What about the 6-week, 3-week holiday between qualifying and the Olympics? Forget it. So that's not ideal. You understand sport. You understand the way sport works. So this kid, to get here, and then wait for it. I'm not finished yet with the preaching. He's got to get in the ring last after 5 of his teammates have been eliminated, including a couple that were being tipped for glory. Let's get that right. They've all gone out, 4 of them on 3-2 splits. So he's got to get in the ring. This kid, knowing that these guys have gone out on 3-2s, and he's got to prove himself. And he does. He boxed brilliantly twice. He boxed brilliantly tonight. He just didn't get the decision. Let's get that right. So he can hold his head up high. That's a cliche, don't get me wrong. He may be sick as a parrot. That's another cliche, don't get me wrong. But I tell you what, he can leave with absolute pride.
But he joins the group of British fighters who've lost 3-2 on that split decision. And again, it's one judge, isn't it? It's one judge and 1 point, 1 round the other way, and Richardson would have won it 3-2. It really was that close. We thought he'd done enough. Looking at your reaction, it sounds like you felt he did enough as well. But there we go. It is Olympic boxing, and sometimes we are left a little confused by some of the scoring. Let's get full time on the Olympic football tonight. Brazil, what a rousing performance from them tonight against Spain. Maz Faruqi.
Absolutely, Jonathan. Far too little too late for the world champions, despite 2 late goals and 17-18 minutes of second half stoppage time we played in the end. This Brazil side, without their suspended superstar Marta, rose to the occasion, left everything out there on the pitch in Marseille, and the world champions won't be contesting the gold medal match. This is the big shock of this tournament. Instead, it's going to be the bronze medal match for Spain. They'll play Germany on Friday in that match, and it will be Brazil against Emma Hayes' USA side in Saturday's gold medal match. Full time in the second semi-final of the Olympic Women's Football Tournament. It's finished Brazil 4, Spain 2.
Thank you, Maz. Some good stories around at the Olympic Games today. One of them over at the wrestling. Bunsey, your mate, the Cuban. What's this all about? Oh, hello.
Excuse me. Just sorry. We, as you know, we're at altitude here, and I've got no water. And let me cough 1 second.
We are just underneath the ceiling here inside Caulfield Chateau. It's a very unusual view for boxing because, of course, normally we're very privileged and down at courtside, at ringside. We're still privileged to be up here, but it is a very different view as we look down from under the rafters. Anyway, your friend the Cuban wrestler.
My old mate Median Lopez was going for history, real history. He was trying to pull away from such illustrious names as Al Oerter, Michael Phelps, Paul Everstrom in the sailing, and of course Carl Lewis in the long jump. They were men that won four consecutive Olympic golds at the same event. Okay. He made it 5 today. That's quite extraordinary. But he's nearly 42. He's 42 in a couple of days' time. That's quite extraordinary. But the real extraordinary thing is he's hardly competed since winning in Tokyo. So what he's done is he made a pact with his body. It was aging. It was crumbling. He's a big guy. He's 6'6". He weighs 20 stone. He made this incredible pact with his body. And he said to his body, and I can imagine, this is I'm translating from the Spanish. He said, I'll look after you. You look after me. So he didn't take it to competitions. He took it to training camps in the heat and at altitude. And he worked with some of the finest wrestlers in the world. So he prepared himself in isolation, in secret. And he came up today in the final against a guy, and this is the really great part of the story, as Mario Costa, who's also born in Cuba. But he was so angry because there was this giant in front of him every day. And that giant was, of course, Lopez, because Lopez was untouchable. So Acosta jumped over the wall, got himself in a boat, defected to Chile, became a Chilean, got to the Olympic final to fight the man that has been denying him everything for so many years. And Lopez, at 41, made that history and won that gold medal.
Great story. We're 5 minutes or so away from Ireland. Kelly Harrington fighting for gold in the women's lightweight division here at the Olympic Games. She'll be walking out very soon. And a little earlier, Bunsey caught up with the RTE commentator, Eric Donovan.
Yeah, she's a superstar, Stephen. That's the truth. She's from the North Inner City in Dublin, and they're all out there in their doors tonight. The whole country has come to a standstill. And, you know, Ireland is a small country. We all know each other. Everybody are connected in some way, and they're all
what everybody's getting in touch, wishing Willie Harrington type that their prayers said and their fingers crossed, so hopefully she can do the business on a big screen in different places in Dublin. Oh, huge, yeah, there's portable screens coming in left, right and centre on the back of trucks, yeah, people are all out in the community watching, and look, this is fantastic, we don't win many medals in the Olympic Games, but boxing is our most successful Olympic sport. We've only won 3 gold medals in boxing, and Kelly has won 1 of them, so she's hoping tonight to become her first back-to-back double Olympic champion, and I tell you, I wouldn't hold it against her, or I wouldn't back against her based on the form she's in. Just give me the indication what it will be like when she flies out, when she lands. She's like a role model, and the whole country is proud of her and gets behind her. But she doesn't have to work as such, but she has a job. She has a job in a local hospital that she just wants to keep going to. She works with the older people in the hospital. Now, these people would be vulnerable, and these people would be very, very old. Some of them just maybe have dementia, etc. But Kelly just loves working with them, and she won't give that job up. It's not about the money, it's about the connection. And she is a person who has connected and united her whole community back in Dublin.
And final question, you're commentating tonight. Surely you're not sitting down and commentating normally. Surely you're up punching me. Come on.
I've got the butterflies in my stomach all day long. I'm going around, you think I was actually fighting. But look, Kelly is just somebody that we all hold very dear. She's already cemented her place in the history books anyways. She is one of our greatest ever. But hopefully tonight, she's so close to becoming a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. And I just hope she can do it.
Yes, the first Irish boxer to reach successive Olympic finals, the first Irish woman to win medals at 2 Olympics, and the 4th overall. Will she be the first Irish woman to win back-to-back gold medals at the same event in an Olympic Games? We will find out inside the next 15 minutes or so here on 5 Live Sport. We brought you a little while ago the fight involving Algeria's Imani Khalif, who has been in the headlines here at the Olympic Games. Let's get her reaction on getting through to the gold medal bout, speaking to Andy Stevenson.
Iman, a fantastic performance. How proud are you to go through to the gold medal match?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm very happy for this performance in this fight. I'm happy for all support here in Paris. So I want to thank all the people in Algeria to come here today. I'm very happy. Thank you so much.
Are you surprised by how many supporters are here for you?
Yeah, it's a big surprise for me. So I want to thank all the people come for me today. Thank you so much.
And has it been difficult to focus on the boxing with everything going on around?
Yes, I'm focused, me and my coach and Pedro and Mohamed. I'm here for good performance and for my dream. I give everything I have for the final. Thank you so much.
Well done tonight.
Yep, she will be fighting in the final in a couple of days' time. Right, Kelly Harrington will be introduced, and she'll be coming into the ring in a few moments' time. It is the one and only gold medal bout on the schedule tonight. It wraps up the first night of boxing at Roland Garros. There'll be a medal ceremony after it, and the big question, Steve Bunce, is will it be gold for Ireland again? If it is, how big a moment is that for Irish boxing?
It's an astounding moment for Irish boxing. It's a monumental moment for Irish boxing because amateur boxing, Olympic boxing is one of the big sports. It's Ireland's greatest Olympic sport. It's one of the massive sports in both the Republic and in the North. It's one of the biggest sports in the island of Ireland. And Harrington is one of the, if not the biggest star at the moment. Of course, what she'll do with this is that she will have won 2 gold medals, okay? And Katie Taylor, of course, only ever won 1 gold medal. As big as Katie Taylor is in world boxing, and as big as Katie Taylor perhaps was in Irish boxing, will she tonight be supplanted by Kelly Harrington? There's a lot at stake here. And I don't know what the Eric Donovan interview, I was outside coughing my heart out outside over, so I didn't hear it. But what Eric Donovan was saying to me was that Ireland, Dublin especially, will come to a stop tonight. There are big screens everywhere with people watching, and there is a love for her and a will that I'm sure she'll feel this evening.
And how much of that do you think is down to the fact she simply doesn't want to be a Katie Taylor? She doesn't want to turn pro, never has done, doesn't want to be a professional world champion. Very happy with her job at the Dublin Hospital, very happy with her success in the amateur game. People love that sort of story, Steve.
Well, that was a bit like Katie in some ways. Katie's a reluctant hero. Katie's a reluctant talker. Even now, it's difficult to get stuff out of Katie. You only get great stuff out of Katie when she's just had a hand raised at Madison Square Garden or the MEN or the O2 or Wembley Stadium. Katie's not a massive media... no one's ever been to Katie's house or home. No one's ever seen anything private about Katie. So in that sense, her and Kelly Harrington share something. But Kelly Harrington was in Katie's shadow. Kelly Harrington had to compete at a weight that wasn't her weight. The moment Katie went professional, then suddenly Kelly Harrington could be at a natural weight, 60 kilos, and that's when it started. That's when the Kelly Harrington time started. And we're now leading to a situation where she could eclipse Katie Taylor's amateur achievements. You'll never eclipse what Katie Taylor did culturally, because globally, let's get that right, and 172 nations entered the boxing competition when it started 13 months ago with the 7 global events. Katie Taylor is on every little girl and lots of boys' bedroom walls because she is the genuine pioneer.
8 years ago at the World Championships, Kelly Harrington lost to Yang Wenlu, who she faces again tonight, Steve. How good is this Chinese fighter?
The Chinese fighter's fantastic. She's been slightly out of the limelight for a few years. But what's really interesting, and I didn't know this, I hold my hands up when I don't know things, not all the time overs, but every now and again I hold my hands up. When I was talking to my Irish buddies, Eric Donovan and the rest of them, and I've known them all a long time, that little gang, and they reminded me that it's really burned away at Kelly Harrington. She's wanted this rematch. She wants some revenge. Well, she's going to get it tonight, in theory, inside this glorious stadium. 15,000 people are coming out for Kelly Harrington's private party, coming out party. The party when she becomes an Irish sporting giant and also gets revenge over Yang.
Well, we're getting ready for the introductions for the final fight of the night, and it is the first gold medal bout of these Olympic boxing tournaments here at Paris 2024, and we'll have a whole series of them for you over the next few evenings, all the way through until Saturday night. Sadly, we won't have any Team GB representatives. We might have Cindy Ngamba, who is very much part of the Team GB setup, but fights under the flag of the refugee team, and what a good story that is. She's still very much in the competition, but right now the focus is on Ireland's Kelly Harrington, and all around us here inside the centre court of Roland Garros we see green, emerald green, and spectators on their feet with their flags waiting to greet Kelly Harrington. Outside I was absolutely astonished when I saw the queue of people waiting to come into the grounds, and every other one was Ireland.
You know, the first time when Katie Taylor boxed at the Olympics, you know what, I'll say the story.
Say the story, because we want to hear the roar for Harrington.
Exactly.
Here comes Yang Wenlu, first of all. 33 she is. 2 5-0 wins in this tournament, but the middle one, 3-2 against Serbia. 2 times a World Championship medalist, including gold in 2016. Right, get ready. Get ready, Ireland. Here comes your heroine. And she emerges slowly, menacingly from behind the screen, and very, very slowly and very, very determined. Kelly Harrington, it's a slow march to the ring. Wow, she looks every bit the defending champion. She looks like she absolutely owns the place. She comes out inside this extraordinary arena, which 2 days ago hosted Djokovic Alcaraz, in one of the best tennis matches of the year, but right now is about to host the first gold medal bout in the Olympic boxing. What about that entrance from Kelly Harrington, Steve?
She walked out like she just left her bedroom in her bathrobe just to wander into the kitchen and have a little look. This is her domain. She is so comfortable. She is so happy. You know what she was doing there as she walked in over us? She was breathing in. She was looking around. She was actually sniffing in the air, just getting the feel for it. By the way, I've got to tell you, and I was talking to Eric Don about this, I think her 3 performances so far at these Olympics have been the best of her international career. This is a quality operator.
Well, it's going to be the end. It's going to be the farewell. And she firmly believes it's going to be a second Olympic gold medal. At the age of 34, she arrives here on centre court. And what a feeling. You know, we were talking about this at the start. These fighters will not have had any chance to experience this because this is night one at Roland Garros. They might have gone out into the stadium when it was empty.
Only maybe.
But not with people in it. So that would have been her first taste. And the Tokyo gold medalist has brought Ireland with her. And out of every nook and cranny of Paris come the Irish, and the emerald green, the flags are waving and the fans are on their feet, and Harrington begins the gold medal bout in the women's lightweight division against the #1 seed Yang Wenlu from China, who starts impressively with a left hand. Harrington will just try and pick and choose her attacks. She'll send a shot and then she'll backpedal. Great mover, and it's what she's done meticulously to opponents over the course of her career. Listen to the support she's got inside the arena. I was at the diving this morning when China won gold and silver and the place was taken over by the Chinese. But make no mistake, tonight they are in the minority and Ireland have the majority of support. First 45 seconds of the opening round. It's a tentative start. There's a lot of movement. Tips of their toes, both fighters. Harrington's in blue and Yang is in red. Yang with a couple of dangerous looking left hands, but Harrington moving away out of trouble. Puts her arms up in the air, tries to lead with the left hand and then her left over the top as well. She's just shaping a few false moves there, Harrington. Shadow boxing almost, and then getting through with a right hand. Couple of body blows attempted by Yang, but Harrington's so good at moving away from trouble. How are you reading this in the first minute and 15 seconds, Steve?
I'm surprised just how much faster Yang is. I can see why she caused Kelly problems. I know it was 8 years ago, but it's still in your mind. She's extremely fast. Not necessarily having a great success, but she's very fast on her feet, and her hands, when she lets them go, are fast. What Kelly's already done is she's adjusted her punches. She's getting a little bit closer before she throws punches, and she's looking for that right hand.
Oh, yes.
Right on the cue.
Right hand, absolutely, on demand from Harrington. And then she leans forward with the left. And I think Yang definitely felt that because it takes a couple of seconds before she's able to recover and throw anything back in response. Another left hand from Harrington, who'll be happy with her work so far. Approaching the final minute of the opening round. 3 3-minute rounds. They'll all be judged by the judges sitting at ringside. There are 5 of them. 10-point scoring system that you'll be familiar with, and then basically you want to win more rounds than the other person. And there have been so many tight decisions over the course of this Olympic boxing tournament. There is no room for error, there is no respite, and you certainly can't rest on your laurels even when you think you've won the fight. 40 seconds remaining in the opening round. Harrington trying to get through by a left hand, but she's just shaken a little bit. She's been disrupted a little bit by the energetic work of her Chinese opponent. 33 is Yang Wenlu. 1 year older is Kelly Harrington, former world and European champion, but reigning Olympic gold medalist. Successful in Tokyo. Will she be successful in Paris? There's an exchange at close quarters between the two. They were both going for counters to the body, and they will have hurt. Harrington on the move, backpedaling once more. This is a very tight opening round. Yang may feel that she might have just slightly done enough. Harrington getting through with the left hand though in the final few seconds, and that may sway any judges who were pondering which way to score this. How's it gone? We look to the scorecards. It's 4-1 in Harrington's favour.
Well, I tell you what, that was a tight, very tight round. I thought that maybe Harrington had done enough in the last 20 seconds, especially the last 10 seconds, and she has. It's 4-1, but that still means it's a relatively tight fight. Yang is giving her all sorts of problems. Bear in mind, overs. In her semi-final, we had the bout of the Olympics. I'm on record as saying it's the best women's contest I've seen at the Olympics. That was Kelly Harrington in a repeat of the final from Tokyo 3 years ago against the current world professional champion Beatriz Ferreira. That was 9 minutes of absolute quality. It was only a couple of days ago. It was only Saturday or Sunday night.
Yeah.
Sunday night, I believe.
Well, if she can beat Ferreira and Yang back to back to win Olympic gold, absolutely she will have deserved it. Two of the best there are in this division, but Harrington is very much part of the triumvirate, and she gets through with a jab. Lovely work from Harrington in the first 10 seconds of the second round. She won that first round to confirm on 4 of the 5 judges' scorecards, but it is close and this could change. However, if she can dominate in this second round, she's got one hand on the gold medal. Leans in with the left hand once more. Yang is looking sprightly, she's looking energetic, but can she score with enough devastating blows? Harrington will start making this very awkward as well. She knows she'll have the lead after that opening round, so she'll use all the tricks of the trade to try to slow things down when necessary. Nice little combination coming in from Yang, but a couple of those blows just were brushed off by the gloves of Harrington. Harrington bobbing her head this way and that, tips of her toes always on the move, forward and then back. So fast, tries to get through with the left of the body, it's successful, and Yang will have felt that once more. First minute is over in the second round. Steve Bunce.
Yang nowhere near as fast in this round as she appeared in the first round, and that's because Kelly is starting to move her feet a bit faster. And you made a good point, Overs, at the start of the second round commentary. You said Kelly will start to make it difficult, and she will. 118 fights, 100 wins, 10 years of international experience at the top events. Heartbreak sometimes, victory other times. She's not going to throw this away. She's in front, and she's going to stay in front.
Good work to the body, though, from Yang Wenlu of China. Midway through this second round, Harrington almost laughs it off. There was a smile on her face as if to say, well, is that what you've got? A right to the body from Harrington.
Sickening.
Again, the Chinese is trying to get in with combinations, but it's often just the single blow from Harrington, which is more accurate and more devastating. And hopefully the judges will see that as the scoring moment. The busier work may be coming from Yang, but the more accurate work from Harrington, who bobs and weaves once more as we enter the final round, the final minute of the second round. Another successful left hand from Kelly Harrington. Is she on her way to defending her Olympic gold medal? What a story. The right jab, she's switching in and out of the southpaw stance at the moment, Steve, as well.
Yeah, she's creating a bit of space for herself. And I tell you what, I'm going to say this now. She looks tired. She's had a hard campaign, a hard year. This is her full fight here. And the Ferreira fight was a brutal fight, as we say, just 48 odd hours ago. Yang's a top competitor. There was no given that Kelly was going to walk through this. I think she's in control, but she's just tired. Just the last 20 or 30 seconds. Well, you can just see it in her body language over.
She's got judges to play with, though, Steve, hasn't she? She won that first round on 4 of the 5 cards. So if she can win this on 3 of those 4, then she's almost home and dry. Trouble permitting in the final round. Dangerous thing to say, but things are looking good. The bell is about to go. There it goes. Big smile from Harrington. How have the judges scored it? We wait. Harrington wins it on 4 of the 5 again. So on 3 of the judges' scorecards, she leads by 2 rounds. And something extraordinary would have to happen now to deny Kelly Harrington the gold medal.
I looking at these scores again here, Overs, I actually think it's a bit closer than that. 2 of the judges have got it even, 19-19.
2 even, but 3 have it 2 rounds to Harrington.
Yeah, so but that shows you how tight it is. That round there especially. So two judges can't split them. Well, I'm a bit surprised by that because let's face it. Okay, Harrington may have started to tire a little bit in the last 20 seconds, but she dominated the first 3 minutes and 2 minutes. I tell you what, she's going to have to watch herself in this round because I don't want her to get any penalties, deductions for holding on.
Yeah.
This is not a foregone conclusion, Overs, not a foregone conclusion.
Well, it's a healthy lead on 3 of the 5 judges' scorecards for Kelly Harrington. Can she now finish her career in style? Any point penalty could be devastating, and as Steve mentioned, we have to watch for that. Harrington also has to be careful as she gets caught by a left hand there by Yang, who is dangerous, and she is a challenger right at the top. of the amateur game in this women's lightweight division. But Kelly Harrington again tonight is showing her class. 30 seconds gone in the third and final round. The final round of her boxing career, and will she be seeing it out with a second successive gold medal to create Irish sporting history? Not just boxing history, but sporting history. No Irish woman has won 2 successive gold medals in the same event, and this very small collection of men who have done it across any sport at the Olympic Games. 1 minute down in the third round. Harrington gets caught by a left hand from Yang, but Yang is absolutely going to have to wind this up in the final stages. She's going to have to find something big if she's got to have any hope of nicking this on the judges' scorecards. She's got to get a 10-8 round on one of those 3 or rely on a point deduction. Harrington in control, has to keep moving. Minute 40 seconds remaining, approaching the midway point, and it's Kelly Harrington in blue, leaning in with the left hand, going with a right to the body, combination to the head. Kelly Harrington enjoying herself midway through the final round.
90 seconds left. She's 90 seconds away from immortality in Irish boxing. She's 90 seconds away from history. She's 90 seconds away from a second consecutive gold medal. Forget everything I said in the break between 2 and 3. She's come out in this round. She's bossed it. She's controlled it. She knows what she has to do. And more importantly, Overs, she knows what she mustn't do. And that's get involved and get sloppy. She's boxing like a dream. Kelly Harrington, come on, girl.
1 minute remaining in the third and final round. Boxing for the gold medal, boxing with style and class and with power. Left hand, right hand combination from Harrington. Her Chinese opponent tiring. Yang, has she got anything left? Harrington has been picking her off almost at will over the course of this third round. There's a nice left hand from Yang, but is it too little too late? Harrington on her way to a second gold. 37 seconds, 35 now left in the third round. Harrington doesn't really have to do much more than backpedal, get on her bike and see out her career and await the gold medal. But that's not her style. She'll come forward, she'll want to finish with a flourish. 20 seconds remaining. Kelly Harrington for Ireland. The whole of Ireland, it seems, cheering her on inside Court Philippe Chatrier, but also on the streets of Dublin and beyond. 10 seconds are left. Irish sporting history is about to be made at the Olympic Games. Kelly Harrington, champion in Tokyo, and with a final combination, left and right, it greets the bell, it greets a second gold medal. Kelly Harrington and Ireland, history is complete. And what a performance. The first Irish woman, surely, to win successive gold medals at an Olympic Games.
And she did it the hard way. She did it by going into the trenches with the best 2 in the world. One of the best professionals, Beatrice Ferreira, and one of the best amateurs in Yang. Kelly Harrington proved herself not just to be a double Olympic champion, but to be a true sporting superstar. And I'm sure she won't be back in the hospital on Monday. I'm sure that won't be the case. Perhaps she'll have a week off. They breed them different in Dublin. They really do, Overs.
Well, there is going to be some party in town tonight.
Points by split decision. Gold medalist and Olympic champion.
Harrington is in blue. That's what you're listening for.
Victorieuse au point par décision partagée, remporte la médaille d'or, devenant championne olympique. In blue
Well, the Irish don't need any invitation to start a party, but goodness me, there's going to be a big one on the western side of Paris tonight, because Kelly Harrington has defended her Olympic title. What an achievement! Gold medalist in Tokyo, gold medalist in Paris, and it's never been done before by an Irish woman at the Olympic Games, and she is dancing in the centre of the ring, celebrating with her team, celebrating with the Irish fans all around this most famous arena, the Court Philippe Chatrier. What an atmosphere, what a moment for boxing just to be inside this place, and what an end to one of the great careers in Irish sport.
I tell you what, a sea of flags over here to the left, a sea of flags over here to the right. On this steep bank, glorious, fantastic arena of yours, Overs, I'm going to give it to you. You can see them, they're dancing everywhere, they're silhouetted in front of us. On the outside, you can see the night sky behind them, you can see the people dancing. Every single part of this, even the parts that aren't Irish, have become Irish to celebrate that bit of history. Kellie Harrington, still in the ring, hands up, pointing at people, waving at people. I think she spotted some family members down there just below Carl Frampton. We are seeing scenes here. We are seeing pure joy, exultant behaviour. Look at this. This is what it means.
She's on her own in the ring. I mean, I'm loving this, Steve, because we're so used at the end of fights, aren't we, in the pro game, to seeing the ring entirely full of who knows who they are most of the time. Now the coach comes in and starts doing an Irish jig. They're all at it. There was a moment when she was down on her knees kissing the Olympic rings on the canvas of the ring. Just an amazing moment. All her life, all she's wanted to do is box and win at the Olympic Games. And she hasn't just done it once, she's gone and done it twice. And Ireland absolutely love her for it. And everyone who's made the effort to come out here, and they're not cheap, these tickets, to come to the boxing in this place, in the fancy tennis place, but everyone's expense, all those euros, have been well rewarded, because they would have paid 100 times that amount to be here and experience this moment. Kellie Harrington finally leaves the ring as a double Olympic champion.
Double Olympic champion, but more than that, a national hero in Ireland. A genuine national hero with a backstory that's hard to invent. She still works in a hospital. She still goes out to work Monday through Friday. It's at weekends and afternoons that she perfects her art and her craft. At 34, if ever there was a retirement party, if ever there was a way to bow out of a sport that you not only come to dominate, but you've come to write your name in its history books, now's the time. She's making her way down here. She thinks she's going to be interviewed by Carl Frampton, who's waiting down there. I think she's going to bypass Frampton and go and see her friends. There's chaos down there. And I know it's your house, but look at her. Who cares? This is what it should be like when you win your double gold medal, your second gold medal. It's been a great games for the Irish and a legendary games for Kellie Harrington.
Well, we wrap up here, and we've welcomed you into our posh tennis place, Bunsey. And this is what the Olympic Games is doing, isn't it? The last two champions in this place over a space of 3 days: Novak Djokovic, the greatest male tennis player there's ever been, and Kellie Harrington, the hospital cleaner from Dublin.
You cannot invent what happens at the Olympics. You cannot invent this journey that we're on. Not just the Olympic sporting journey, our sporting journey. She's been interviewed by Carl Frampton, a great friend of mine from Belfast, former world champion, and the two of them hugged and kissed for 20 seconds. Lord knows what his paymasters were thinking. Do the interview, Carl would have been sprouting. Forget it. He was saying, look at this. This is a pure loving. They're still dancing. They're still waving flags.
Get down
Nobody
there, Bunsey.
cares.
There's a party that needs you. There's a party that needs you. What an end to day 11 at these most glorious Olympic Games here in Paris. The action will continue on Wednesday. Tomorrow, day 12. And what stories will we have in store for you then? Well, you'll have to join us to find out. For now, though, what is it? It's 20 to 11 on this Tuesday evening. And now on 5 Live, it's good evening to Gordon Smart.